presentations before the start of play. And that included the two men in the middle, both making their first appearances. Kendall and Lachlan. Lachlan will become cap number 93, and Kendall as captain will get cap number 92. So we're closing in, I think, on the 100th player to represent the Japan men's team. Alongside them, we also have Reo Sakurano as vice captain, Sakurano Thomas, I should say. Reo has been causing making a bit of an impression on the domestic cricket scene this year as a seam bowling all-rounder. We'll also have Kohei Kubota, who's been around the squad for a long time. Kubota plays for Wyverns and leading wicket-taker in the JCL last year, I believe.
Yes.
Piyush Kumbare will be making his debut, left-arm spinner from Tigers Cricket Club. Sabarish Ravichandran, his teammate at the Tigers, multiple player of the year in Japan domestic cricket. Declan Suzuki, another boy based over in Melbourne of Japanese heritage. Ibi Takahashi of the Chiba Sharks. He's been waiting his turn for a while. And as we mentioned, Lachlan Yamamoto Lake. The guys who have been around a little bit, Makoto Taniyama now becomes the old man of the Japan cricket team, which is funny to think about. He's been playing since he was 15, 16 years old. Okay, and the first ball is going to be bowled by, make sure we get these names right, Maxi Koda. Maxi Koda is going to bowl from over the wicket. I'm going to assume he's a right armer. We'll find out in a moment. First ball of this series. Runs in. That's played into the circle. No run. Just looking at the field. Men outside the circle. We've got a third man and a square leg, or a backward square leg. Indonesia dressed in their red gear. Two umpires we've got out there. Chris Thurgate, Adam Burst. Adam's at the non-strikers end now. Two of the most experienced umpires in Japan. You'll know a bit about these umpires. You must have seen them around the scene, Tammoy, in your time playing for the Chiba Sharks.
I have indeed.
Koda coming in again. Well, it's early aggression from Lachlan Lake, but he's hit that straight to the man at mid-off. So no run there.
T20 cricket is going to be a lot of bat being thrown around, looking for the initial quick runs in the field restrictions. Yamamoto Lake seems to be in with the intent to score some early runs here.
Yep, he's looking to get bat on ball straight away, isn't he? Hefty swings and going through for a quick single, so that's good. Putting the fielder under pressure.
Risky run though, won't you say?
Calculated risks, I don't mind that.
Yeah.
So makes a statement early on in the game.
Yes.
Tells the fielding team that they've got to be on their toes because these guys are going to be looking to steal singles. And of course, with Kendall being a left-hander, that means that the field's got to change. It's just a bit of disruption to the bowler's line length. You know all about that, Tammoy, as a left-hander.
Yes, absolutely. Getting the strike changed frequently will put the bowlers under pressure. The field will constantly keep changing, unsettling somewhat the bowling team. Also, it's interesting to see Japan bats very deep in this batting order, all the way up till number 9, I think.
It'll be interesting to see what the order is. I think there may well be some floating rolls.
There will be, definitely.
So here's Kendall Kadawaki Fleming. He's been waiting a long time for this. Been in the squad since 2019. He's been around the group for longer than that. Here's his first ball as an international. And he lets it go. Looks like that kept a bit low, didn't it?
That kept really low. Of course, the wicket it's a freshly laid surface this time, used for the first time, I believe, this season.
This season, yep. Yeah, it's preparation somewhat hampered by 4 days of rain leading into the tournament.
Definitely. Heavily rolled, though. There did seem to be a little bit of grass left just to keep it bind in.
Bat on ball, just into the offside and no run there.
That bounced up rather well this time.
Yeah, I would hope the bounce should be all right. As we said, that there'll be some wet patches, but the covers came off at 8 o'clock this morning. They've had 5 hours to dry out. Each end, so sort of full towards the batsman's toes. There might be a little bit of spongy bounce, but I'm hoping that in general the pitch will play okay. There's forecast should be dry for the day.
We're hoping so. Yes.
Hopefully, so some rain forecast for a little bit later on, but hopefully we can get through the game without any problems.
Oh,
That's a
takes
thick edge
the-
from Kendall, but that will go down through the slips. There's sort of a wide second slip. There's no one there, so third man will field that and return it for a single. So both batters are off the mark.
Interesting to have Budiartha wearing the numbers, or Artha1 rather, wearing the numbers 0 jersey out there.
Stationed at third man.
Wearing number 0.
Very, very interesting.
Yeah, you don't see that too often.
I know you don't. Yes, talking about the weather, it has held up at least from this morning onwards. And even though there is a little bit of rain forecast, I think it should be holding up. There is a little bit of breeze picking up, which is going to be interesting for the seam bowlers.
If you do hear the odd beeping in the background, you'll have to excuse me. I do have a walkie-talkie to the direct line to the umpires, just telling us who's bowling and who's taking catches and everything else. So a little bit of background noise. We are multitasking here in the commentary box, which is fairly standard in associate cricket.
Always good to have information coming in first hand from the umpires. We don't really have the liberty of having statisticians up here, but
Yet.
from the
We
horse's
just
mouth,
got to find out who wants to do it.
yes. We might be just doubling up as statisticians as well over the course of this game.
Now, it's interesting. It says shirt number 7 is the bowler, which is Ahmad Ramdoni.
Yes.
He's also marked on my team sheet as the wicketkeeper. So that's interesting. We'll have to have a look at that after the game, I think. But he is a left-arm seamer who... Kendall's gone after that. Kadawaki Fleming puts it into the offside.
Shipped it over.
Will that run away? I think they'll just pull that up.
That's going to be a touch and go decision.
Let's have a look.
The batsmen have returned for 2, but we'll wait for the umpire to make a decision here. Looks like it's going to be staying at 2.
Yeah, very, very close. They just got the edge of that. So aggression from Kadawaki Fleming, going aerial over the infield.
Yes.
Looks like they might have come back for 3, in fact.
Oh yeah, the strike has indeed changed. The batsmen have changed strike this time. And yes, the intent looks pretty clear using the first 6 overs of restrictions, clearing the infield as much as possible. The outfield is going to be a little damp, of course, with the rain that has happened over the last 3 days.
Just looking at the field, you've got a third man and sort of a backward square leg as the 2 fielders. Again,
Quick single right there.
scuttering through, just inside edge from Yamamoto Lake there. The last time these 2 teams played each other, I believe, I don't have the figures to hand, but I believe that Ahmad Ramdoni took 4 for.
Uh-huh.
I was there in the Philippines almost 4 years ago, and yeah, the left armer ran through us a little bit in that day. So he's got some pedigree, he's got some previous, he's been around for a while.
It seems to be a very composed bowling action over there. Looks to take the ball away from the left-hander. Wide signalled by umpire Chris Thurgate.
Do you know what? This is entirely my fault. I'm getting this all wrong. I'm calling it the wrong bowler. I'm looking at the batting order rather than the shirt numbers. This is Gede Arta. So he's not number 7, the wicketkeeper.
Gede Dharma
Forgive me.
Arta.
Getting myself all tied in knots. Too many numbers on my team
You
sheet.
could probably just fold the left section.
Yes, I
of
probably
the
can.
paper.
It's just going to confuse me. So Gede Arta. Well, it was definitely the left armer who took the wickets against Japan out in the Philippines 4 years ago. So this is the guy.
Another interesting factoid there, I believe while Japan is fielding about 8 new players, debutants rather, Indonesia seems to have a pretty similar look to what the team looked like 4 years ago. Alan?
You put me on the spot there, Tam. I honestly couldn't tell you how many guys from the Indonesia team are making their debut today.
Right.
I suspect there will be a few. Such is the nature of associate cricket
Of course.
and the time that we've had away from the game. You know,
Yes.
It's been 4 years. You know, players change. Our team certainly
nicely
that's a
struck
nice.
there.
Yeah, that's just straight to mid-off and they'll trot through for a single. Yeah, we've been trying to keep our players together during the pandemic, trying to stop people from losing motivation and drifting off into other hobbies or just throwing themselves into their work, which is a big part of the Japanese
Yes.
lifestyle.
Yes.
But it was always a time that some of the youngsters that we knew about were coming through. There's several of the guys making their debuts today would have played in the Under-19 World Cup qualifiers last year had they gone ahead. Of course, they were lost to the pandemic. But several of these guys, Lachlan Yamamoto Lake was one of them. He's been on our radar for several years now. And he's still only 19. So hopefully a long international career ahead of him. He's looking to go leg side against the left armour, which is no real surprise, but he's picked up the man at short mid-wicket, so no run.
Yes, both of the batsmen, right-handed and left-handed, Yamamoto Lake and Kadawaki Fleming, are looking to clear the infield, clearing their front legs out of the way, not really making any effort to put the ball along the ground so far. Yeah,
I guess that's part of the expected slow outfield. Well, he's timed that again, just chipped it really to mid-off, and then with the slow outfield, well, the outfield likely to be slow because of the weather. Going over the top, it's your most likely route to a boundary. It's big boundaries. I think it's like 65 metres all around. So it's big boundaries out here today. And for the guys out in the middle, they'll be thinking about their boundary options. And with the left armour bowling, as it was just then, there's no one on the boundary, in front of the wicket. They've changed it now. I can see a third man. Is there any? And the fine leg is sort of a wide fine leg down by the scoreboard. Ooh, just squaring Kadawaki Fleming up a little bit there.
Yeah, a little bit of movement.
A leading edge.
By Arta there. End of the over this time. 9 for no loss after 2. Good start.
So 7 from that over. It's a decent one. But yeah, it's a relatively sedate start as both teams come to terms with the pitch and what it does. As I mentioned, Japan won the toss and chose to bat. Speaking to the Indonesian manager, they don't get to play on turf very often over there, and I was fortunate enough to commentate on the JCL T20 finals last week. Your boys just going down in the final, Tammoy. They missed you, I think. But it was interesting to see how the players were much better on the turf in the afternoon than they were in the morning, and I think part of that was the pitch flattening out. But part of it was the players adjusting and getting used to it. So
absolutely,
it'll be an interesting test for Indonesia.
Slipping in a Yorker there. Koda, the bowlers right there. Also, just going back to what you were talking about, the intent of the batsman, it's also just the nature of T20 cricket, isn't it? I mean, the batsmen are not going to be looking at... they're basically going to be looking at the best scoring opportunities that they can.
Absolutely. I think that a lot of people it sounds a bit silly, but they almost put too much of a high price on their wicket in T20 cricket, and you see teams making 130 for 4.
Absolutely.
And you're like, well, you could have taken some more risks and got that up to 150, 160. And so often in T20 cricket, how often do you see a game come down to the last over?
No,
it's all the time, and every run matters. And if you have to sacrifice yourself a little bit, then as you mentioned earlier, these teams, they tend to bat pretty deep nowadays. So
they do bat very deep, and a lot of course, Japan also has the liberty of fielding a lot of bowling all-rounders and batting all-rounders in their team.
A lot of options with the ball, yeah. Just looking at this field, there's a third man again.
Keeps a touch low, goes past the off stump right there.
Third man and fine leg. Fine leg's kind of halfway between the boundary and so it's a bit of a nothing position, to be honest. It's a bit of a strange one.
Very similar to the jersey, I would say this time. The far end is of course producing a couple of balls which are staying a touch low as compared to the pavilion end.
They're struggling to get that's bowled him. That's the first wicket of the series. Looks like he might have chopped that on. Or may have gone straight through him. Actually, he knew straight away. But Yamamoto was there to take risks, try and find boundaries, get the quick scoring.
He had been looking to strike the ball down the ground quite a few times, played and missed. And finally, the bowler did manage to slip one through, going straight enough and missing. Even though Yamamoto leg just charged down the track, he kind of missed the ball. That wasn't really something that kept low or anything like that.
No, it didn't do a lot. I mean, the bowler, I was just about to say, Koda's been difficult to get away. He's No runs in this over so far.
Bowled
3
a
dots,
very-
and that builds the pressure, doesn't it?
Bowled a very tight first over as well, and puts the pressure right back to the batsman. Looks like Takahashi in at number 3.
Yeah, wearing number 28. That will be Ibrahim Takahashi. Opens the batting for his club in T20, so he'll be used to being out there and facing the new ball, newish ball.
Yes, Takahashi also has been making a name for himself for playing for Chiba Sharks in the Japan Cricket League and the Japan Cup, the limited overs and the T20 competition. Is a fine top order batsman along with a very handy off spinner. Likes to open the bowling as well with the white ball, strangely enough, and he will keep the fielders busy because he's more of a conventional batter as compared to the openers that we saw. Will play the ball along the ground. Does like to rotate the strike very frequently. But it'll be interesting to see this matchup against Koda, who looks to be bowling a very tight line at the moment.
Yeah, I'd say that Ibi's quite a good judge of the wicket. He's played here a lot more than the openers both have. He's been out here quite a lot recently as well. He is more of a, as you say, conventional batter. He'll play the mist at that one, but he is a player who generally will get bat on ball. He'll read the conditions. He'll move the ball around a little bit, and then once he's in, he'll look to go through the gears.
Absolutely. Also a pleasure to play with Takahashi for Chiba Sharks, one of my teammates, one of the more reliable team members with the bat as well as with the ball. And he's a very, very lively fielder out there in the closing stages of the game. Bats quite top as well.
Yeah, brings an all-round package, doesn't he? Bat on ball there, but there's not going to be any runs. So that is an excellent over from Koda. It's a wicket maiden from Rogerio Maxi Koda. It's a great name, and he's really proving
Excellent name.
difficult for
and
Japan to get away at the moment.
follows it up with a very good first over as well. 2 runs from the first and a maiden wicket from the second. It's an interesting combination now. Japan continuing with the batting combination, the left and the right. Kadawaki Fleming is, of course, the left-hander. Would like to go for the boundaries. Takahashi, the complete opposite, will be composed, will play through the innings. He really likes to bat. I can tell you with my experience of playing with him for Chiba Sharks, he does have a lot of experience batting through the overs. Keeps a touch low there. Opening bowlers are doing a good job for Indonesia, Alan.
Yeah, they're certainly keeping it tight. They've hit their lines. Got to be impressed with how they're going about their business. Plenty of noise in the field as well.
It's good energy. Full toss right there. Clears the infield, but batters run back for 2 there. Good running from Takahashi. Yes, I think the wicket is going to be a little up and down, as we talked about earlier. There is it's a fresh surface for this season, and not a lot of preparation the last 3 or 4 days because of the consistent rain. It's perhaps too early to make a judge of how many runs Japan would be happy with at the end of the 20 overs here.
Yeah, really difficult to judge a score. And I think this will set the tone for the whole series, really, of how things move on in terms of what a good score batting first is. Both teams are a little bit, get a bit of guesswork involved. T20 cricket, normally you're thinking 160, 170 straight away, aren't you? But often playing on turf out here, we found that, particularly in the morning games, 120 is a good score.
Exactly. A lot of the turf games here, also coupling it with the size of the boundaries here, it's not really easy to get the 6s and the 4s as you would be accustomed to in a lot of international games. It's going to be a lot of tough work out there for the batsman. Nicely struck by Takahashi, goes in for a quick single
It's a
direct hit.
batter comfortably home. What I will say, Tamoy, I reckon that must be the 4th time that they've taken a single to mid-off.
Yes.
So, are you a little surprised that mid-off hasn't come up a little bit?
Yes, seems to be, and on both ends, so I can't really put the blame on one fielder alone.
No, sure. It's definitely a
So
case of...
I think it's just a case of anticipating the ball coming to the fielder a little more.
Most of these
making
guys
a
are right back on the circle.
Absolutely.
And I think they've got to be. They're probably not walking in as much and they're not on their toes.
They are anticipating, of course, harder hits probably to the boundaries, which is why they're probably sitting a little back on the circle. But yeah, the batsmen are quite comfortable taking singles here.
Again, still just a wide, long leg really. And
Nicely
that's going to go
struck
through.
finally.
That's going to be the first boundary, I think. It will beat the chase. Kazuaki Fleming has his first boundary in the Japan shirt. It's a nice drive through mid-off. They've been eyeing up that region throughout the innings so far. Plenty of balls going to the fielder, as we're just discussing, and finally getting one through.
Yes, nicely struck by Kazuaki Fleming. It was a little uppish, but he was right behind the shot. He was not really putting anything back, holding anything back in that shot. A lot of the balls have gone straight to the fielder. This time it finds the gap.
Last ball of the over coming up, lefty to lefty, and that is the end of it. Kazuaki's Fleming was looking sharp, just looking to get himself in, just hit his first boundary, misses the next ball. Middle stump knocked back, bails on the floor. More celebrations for Indonesia. That's 17 for 2 at the end of 4 overs, after a good over as well. We had 8 runs from it, but it's Indonesia who finished it with the celebrations.
Both the openers are back in the dugout already, and in very similar fashion, might I add. Kazuaki Fleming also trying to advance down the track and try to flay the ball through the offside, but again misses the line of the ball. And might I also add, the ball did keep a touch low there, which has been a bit of a feature of this wicket today. Just a couple of balls kind of not really bouncing up as high as the batsman would expect.
Now it looks like Declan Suzuki is the new man. So left-hander has replaced left-hander. I suspect that's a bit of tactical thinking by the coach, Dougal Bedingfield. He wants that rotation of the strike and difficulties for the fielders. So Declan, again, resident of the city of Melbourne, but his parents are here. It's his 3rd visit to Japan this year. He'll be sitting at the non-striker's end.
It's change of bowlers right there.
Yeah, a new bowler.
No,
it's the same bowler. It's still Koda.
Just the over changed and the batsman obviously switched sides. Takahashi just slipping in an inside edge there.
Not surprised Koda's continuing given his start that he's made.
Yes, excellent choice by the Indonesian captain there, Gamantika. Going with the form bowlers, getting them through, and I think they're bowling smartly here. They're trying to put the ball as straight as they can and looking to hoping for the ball to do its bit from the wicket, and as they have succeeded twice already.
Yeah, batsmen will just be thinking a little bit more about those stumps. So Declan Suzuki,
yes,
as I mentioned, he was out here earlier in the year. He was player of the tournament in the Japan Futures League. Scored 77 not out in the final, I believe.
Yes, that was back in
the Turtles home to their first title, and the first time we ever held the Futures League. That was in late April.
Late April, early May, wasn't it?
April.
Yes. It was an interesting start to the season. The Futures League did throw up a lot of new talents coming up in the Japan cricket circles.
Definitely. And I mean, speaking to those boys at that time, for a lot of them it was their first time coming into Japan to play domestic cricket. They knew a lot of guys would be watching them, and eyes on them to see what these guys with Japanese heritage living overseas can do. There's a certain amount of expectation. And I know some of them were a bit nervous about that. You know, these guys are young boys. They're all 19, 20 years old.
Absolutely.
And Declan said that he felt pretty nervous even in the Futures League. And then they had sort of 14, 15-year-olds bowling at him. So, you know, you imagine that now. They're all making their international debuts. Those nerves are going to be around again. And I'm sure that has to be factored into the performances today.
Definitely.
Suzuki's beaten the field at that time. but looks like the man on the boundary will cut that off. Or not. I'm not sure what's happened down there. Bit of chaos.
Yeah, Miron wanted to flick the ball back into play to the supporting fielder there.
The umpires look happy enough with it, so I think they've run 3 is the end result. So
Suzuki seems to be handling his nerves quite well of playing international cricket. At the end of the day, it is international cricket, isn't it?
it is. This is our first official T20I.
Yes.
So these guys are all out there. These stats will count. They will go on the ranking list.
Absolutely, and this 3-match series is also working as a precursor to the next week's very important qualification games.
That's right. The 2024 ICC T20 World Cup qualifiers East Asia Pacific Sub-Regional B
Yes.
is the snazzy name.
It's quite a mouthful there.
For that tournament. But yes, sub-regional qualifier. The winner of that tournament will go through to a regional final. So these 2 teams plus Korea will be coming in
Yes.
later in the week. And the 3 teams will each play each other twice. And the team top of the table at the end of that will go through to the regional final to take on the Philippines, Vanuatu and Papua New Guinea for a place in a 20-team T20 World Cup. So it's exciting. There's a very clear pathway there. Oh, he's
Nicely
absolutely
struck.
hit that out the screws. Declan Suzuki looks in fine touch.
Oh, that was
That's
sweetly
raced
timed.
away through mid-wicket for 4. Not much of a backlift. He just flicked it. Rocked it to the boundary. Looked very comfortable.
Yes.
So a good over in the end.
a
Koda's
rare,
figures taking a bit of a hit. He's still got 1 for 11 off 3 overs.
a rare loosener from Koda right there to finish his 3rd over. But Suzuki was right up to the challenge this time.
Yes, that's 5 overs gone. 26 for 2. Japan getting a bit of a boost in that over, and you can handle losing early wickets if the run rate stays up. You know, the run rate now is just over 5. It's not racing away, but what you don't want to be is sort of 7 for 2 after 5 overs, do you? And you've got too much ground to make up. So if they can keep ticking over at 5s and a few overs like that, which has seen 9 runs from it, getting to that 120, 130, you got plenty to bowl at with that sort of time.
You're right. I think the batsmen are not really letting the wickets, the falling wickets, affect them so much, because that's going to take the momentum away from their innings, so to speak. Because the wicket will play as it is, and it might even get worse in the second innings.
Well,
so,
we'll
as
see,
you were saying, run a ball or a little more than that, a 120, a 140, anything between that range is going to be quite a handful for Indonesia to chase down.
Well, it's interesting. They've got the same bowler continuing, which means they will just use 2 bowlers throughout the whole of the power play, which is an unusual tactic. Most teams like to mix it up.
It is.
But Arta's into his 3rd over. Bowl's full, and Takahashi flicks that into the leg side. I don't think that's going to go to the boundary, but he's hit it pretty cleanly. They're going to be doing a bit of running, these boys. Coming back for a 3rd, just testing the fielder's arm, and it's a comfortable 3 runs.
Comfortable 3 for Takahashi. Nicely timed there. Of course, the outfield is a little heavy, even though the grass is nicely cut. The outfield looks really good, though.
Yeah, it does. If we do get a bit of sun, I think this outfield will speed up over the course of the week. But
Absolutely.
more rain forecast tonight, unfortunately.
Yes, the next 2 games, hopefully we will have some sun coming in.
So the boys are going to be doing a bit of running. I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. The Japan team is young, they're fit, they're healthy. Declan Suzuki is a bit of an athlete. He's been playing Australian rules football for most of the season.
That's
His
fantastic.
team lost the grand final against a team that they'd beaten 3 times in the year, so they were somewhat disappointed about that.
Definitely.
Got caught in wet conditions and didn't turn up on the day, but again, into the leg side. Didn't hit that as well as he has done.
Not
Just
nicely
chipped really to
played.
square legs, 1 bounce, and they've scampered through for another single. So they're not leaving runs out there. They're definitely taking on the fielders. They're definitely looking to keep their activity rate ticking
Yes.
over, which is...
The wicketkeeper Ahmed Ramdani there, making a rare mistake there, not being able to collect the ball cleanly. It might have been touch and go for Takahashi over there. But yes, the bowlers, back to the bowlers, again, bowling their 3rd over.
It's not a tactic I like, to be honest. I understand why they might have done it with the guy to chap bowling the 1st over, whose name I've just completely forgotten. Koda, Maxi Koda. He bowled that well, so I can understand if you've got 2 wickets for 4 runs after 2 overs, you give him a 3rd. But Arta's gone for 18 of his first 2 overs. I'd be looking to change it, perhaps introduce spin into the equation.
Yeah.
Just get the batsman thinking about something else. I know Coach Bedingfield likes to almost have a different bowler every over. And
Yes,
is his
he
approach.
does. I think I do like Coach Bedingfield's the approach to T20 cricket that way, because you're going to give the batsman a lot to predict if you're bowling them 2 or 3 overs.
You can't line the
consistently.
bowler up, can you?
No, you can't.
That's driven straight.
Of
Again,
course, the
it's a
challenge
single to mid on.
Of course, the challenge becomes for the bowler to keep changing and bowling those 6 balls right into the channels every time that they're asked to bowl.
Yeah, I know the seam bowlers tend to find it a bit more difficult because
Yes.
your body cools down and then you've got to warm up again and bowl again, and you might not get a lot of
Precisely.
notice either.
Precisely.
So you've got to be fairly supple as a seam bowler.
Definitely. And the running between wickets has been really good, as you mentioned, Alan. I think also because we're into the autumn season here in Japan.
Or aggression, but that's gone through the keeper. They haven't run. I think there was a buy on offer there, which they've passed up. Takahashi perhaps needed to be a bit more on his toes.
Yes, the run rate is hovering around that 5 mark. They are looking to speed it up a little more.
And they've kept the same field as well, just a third man and a sort of backward square leg as the 2 men out.
Placed a lot of
Man at
trust
backward
on the
square leg is
bowlers.
going to be field the ball now. And they're coming back for 2. And that's what I mean about Suzuki. He is quick.
He is
will work
rapid,
these
isn't
fielders.
he? Absolutely. That was well run. The ball was straight to the fine leg fielder, but he managed to scamper through for 2.
Yeah, again, the fielder not really attacking the ball, not enough urgency. He thought they would just be, meandering through for a single. But these young Japan boys, they want to make sure that they get hold of everything and that they make the most of every shot they play and don't leave anything out there. So good approach, and that's the end of the 6 overs. Japan are 33 for 2.
33
So-
for 2. I think Japan would be fairly happy with the position they're in at the moment. Of course, the 2 wickets lost, they would not have. They would have probably been happier with.
I think they
just
put
one down or so.
I think they can handle having 2 down, but you'd rather have
Yes.
one of your openers still in. Perhaps.
Absolutely, exactly.
But again, there was clearly a game plan there. Yamamoto Lake went hard.
yes,
Kadawaki Fleming was just easing himself in, and ultimately he's just missed a straight one.
Yes.
To be fair, he had a pretty hectic journey. And he got off a plane yesterday and came straight to training.
right.
So he can be forgiven for not quite being at his best, and I think he will, and most of these boys will warm into this tournament. Indonesia only flew in yesterday as well, of course.
Yes.
So no excuses there. And it looks like we are going to have a bit of spin. So for the
Yes.
first time, this is Mohamed Hafiz. Judging by how he's holding the ball, I think this is going to be a bit of off spin, but we'll see when he gets deliveries underway. Ibi Takahashi is an on-off spinner himself, so he'll be looking to read this from the hand, I suspect.
Went for the slog sweep, hard hit, but scampers through to 1.
Yeah, definitely rolling his fingers across the ball. So let's see what he's got. The keeper's struggling to collect it a bit, isn't he? And those throws come in towards his feet.
I think, Alan, what you touched upon back there about the fielding, the fielders sitting back a little bit and not probably approaching the ball a little more, being aggressive towards fielding, is going to be one of the differences between the 2 teams here, I think, especially in the game with small margins here, where you're probably going to have lower scores than expected. The fielding is going to be very
Going
important.
to be very important. As we're looking at these fields lining up, we've got 4 fielders outside the circle, so they've not got their full allocation. Now, I'm not sure if there was bad on that. That's just turned away, squared Suzuki up a bit. May well have just missed everything, but wicketkeeper couldn't get a glove on it either, and they've jogged through for a bye, I think, was that signalled in the end. Should probably check that, shouldn't I?
Finely swept by Takahashi, will probably come in easily for the second. A very calm approach to the bowling crease by Hafiz there. Has a very high arm off spin action. Doesn't flight the ball too much. Of course, you won't see a lot of that happening in T20 cricket.
Yeah, the bowling is a bit flatter.
Yes. Bowling right into the wicket. Takahashi is looking to sweep. He's, of course, making use of the field on the leg side there. And once again,
not taking on the arm that time. So perhaps these guys are starting to figure out which fielders they can take a second,
Yes, I think
second
they've
run to, and
started
which ones they
targeting.
want to be a bit more conservative.
Yes, they've started targeting the fielders a little bit. Of course, now we have the left-hander on strike, Suzuki.
So that was a leg by signalled. So there wasn't a chance for Suzuki. So just flicked off his pad. Of course, the off spinner turning the ball away from him will present a new sort of challenge. And he's just guided
Turns
that
away.
into the leg side behind the stumps, and they will turn for 2 here. So good, strong running again by
Very
Suzuki.
good running by Suzuki over there.
He's really putting them under pressure in the field, which is great. That's exactly what you want to see.
Yes, I think-
Declan's a little bit miffed. He's wearing number 22 today. His shirt didn't arrive, so he's the only player out there with no name on his shirt. Poor lad. He hasn't got the number that he requested either. Hopefully, by the time the tournament rolls around, he'll be back in the number 8 shirt with his name on.
It's going to be a memorable debut for more reasons than one, of course,
Yeah,
for Suzuki.
took it in his stride yesterday.
Cut away there for 1.
So we've been calling him Declan all day. Of course, he has a Japanese name as well. Tora Suzuki is his
Tora.
Japanese name. Tora, which in Japanese is tiger. So he'll be looking to attack like a tiger out there in the field today. And I'm sure when he gets the ball in his hands, he'll be coming in with just the same vigor and energy he's showing as running between the wickets at the moment. Now, Ibi Takahashi, you mentioned you know him fairly well. Grew up in Pakistan, but again, Japanese heritage, and has been living in Japan for the last few years. Looks like we've got another change of bowler. So Danielson Johannes Howell coming on, shirt number 9.
Another interesting name there. Looks like another medium pace option for Indonesia. Right armour this time.
I remember the Brazilian footballer called Danielson. He
Yes.
was once the most
Yes.
expensive player in the world.
Indeed.
Signed by Real Betis.
Real Betis,
Of
absolutely.
all clubs breaking the transfer, I think about 20 million.
Yes, that was in the mid-90s.
Mid-90s. Good football knowledge, Tamoy. Well
Yes.
done.
The
2 of
thing
us are
is-
showing our age here, I think.
I think so. That's more than talking about the footballing knowledge. I think is just about our age.
But yes, so Danielson's got the ball in hand. Another bowling all-rounder. He's down to about at 6 in the team sheet that we've got. Coming into Suzuki again. They've reverted almost more to a power play field. They've got...
Nicely struck by Suzuki there.
Oh, it's a
direct hit once more.
It's the second direct hit of this innings. So these guys, you know, they know their way around the field for sure.
They do have strong arms, I must say, but the fielders have been a little back on the circle there, not really charging the ball enough to cut the chances for the singles. The Japanese batsmen are pretty comfortable taking the singles and rotating strike at the moment. They're not really going for the big runs. They're manipulating the field quite
Just
well.
3 out for Takahashi, a third man, a fine leg, and a sort of deep mid wicket. So, and again, straight away, 2 mid off and an easy
It was
single,
a
wild throw.
Wild throw right there.
Well, they're lucky not to have given away some buzzers there. But yeah, they've only got 3 out, so it's interesting. They're looking to put a squeeze on, but they are leaving opportunities. There's no one on the boundary on the offside apart from third man. So if they can pierce that infield or go over the top, then there's runs on offer. Sorry, there's change of... This left-hand, right-hand is causing me problems, Tamway. So mid-wicket has gone back, but there is no one on the offside.
There isn't.
Just a third man, and that's it. So again, only 2? Am I seeing only 2 outside the circle?
That
No,
held
3
up
out.
on the pitch.
3 out. There's a mid-wicket and a fine leg and a third man. So it's quite attacking from Indonesia. Fair play to them, just as this partnership is starting to come together. They still want to attack. They're still looking to put the squeeze on. And they know that Japan are running these singles, so I think they want to try and cut that off, and they want to ask them to try and go over the top and get the ball in the air. Oh, it's another one that's kept low, isn't it?
I think Suzuki and Takahashi have done a very good job there the last couple of overs. They've run their runs hard, and even though the boundaries have not been coming as easily, if you can see, the run rate has crept up slowly to the 6 mark already, and they haven't really had to take unnecessary risks so far, even though Suzuki is of course trying to be the aggressor here, and
Oh, is that the thick
He
edge?
goes once more.
Yep, that's been taken. It was short, wide. The keeper's made a lot of ground. He's taken it diving away to his left. It's a good catch.
Keeper Ramdhani takes a very nice catch there, diving to his left. A wild outside edge by Suzuki this time. He was trying to give the bowler the charge the last 3 balls and found the edge this time. One more wicket, and this time for the number 9, who's got a wicket in his first over.
Well, man coming to the crease. From here, that looks like Sabarish Ravichandran. And I can tell you now that this guy is absolutely chomping at the bit. He's been wanting to play for Japan since he arrived here 7, 8 years ago.
Yep.
He's had to wait, serve his residency time. And then the Japan selectors did make that decision to start selecting guys who do qualify through residency, which wasn't the case last time we were playing. Sabarish with number 18 on his shirt.
Multiple Player of the Year winner, as you have mentioned earlier. A very solid batsman in the middle order for the Tigers.
Yeah, coming in at 5. I suspect he would have come in at 4 had things been different with the left-right hand combination. It's just means he's coming in one place lower than he usually plays. But he'll be very keen to make the most of this. Facing his first ball in international cricket, pushes it into the gully. No run there. He will be having to control his emotions, Sabao, a bit, I should think. He's
think so.
A very passionate individual. He'll be bringing a real determination, but he's also a very smart, very savvy cricketer. So he'll be weighing up the situation, and I would be surprised if he's not looking to bat through now and be the one who stays there to the end of the innings.
I think both the batsmen here in the middle are of a similar mold, but I guess Takahashi, having been there for a few overs, obviously is probably going to take charge for being the aggressor. And as you said, Sabarish Ravichandran batting in his favourite jersey, number 18 there. Obviously has had to wait his time. He's a little older than the rest of the group here.
He's one of the few players in his 30s. He is 30.
Yes, he's just turned 30 this year, and solid looking cricketer. Bit of a wild pull effort by Takahashi.
Has a word with himself at the far end there, doesn't he, Ibrahim?
Yeah, top edge, but just lands away from the wicketkeeper. Would have been looking for his second dismissal already.
Yeah, it's just gone straight up and behind him.
Just eluded him this time. The off spinner is back. Hafiz, who bowled a pretty tight first over there. Sabarish, of course, is a very good player of spin.
Well, he bowls leg spin.
Yes.
And his bowling, I'm sure, we'll see him bowl his 4 overs in this second innings of this game. These are guys who do know the conditions a bit better than the 3 batters who've been dismissed. All haven't played that much cricket in Japan, whereas these 2 certainly have, and that's why I think they'll be slightly better at reading the conditions. And that's a cracking shot.
Excellently timed by Ravichandran.
Gets his first boundary in the Japan shirt. Brilliant over extra cover. I've seen him play that shot dozens upon dozens of times for the Tigers. He hits it so cleanly. It flies over the circle.
Yes,
a huge gap there. Anyways, waited for it. He looked like he wanted to hit it on the full to begin with, but he saw it dipping, cracks it on the half volley. Fielder down at long off, no chance. So 4 runs for Sabarish. Beautiful way to get off the mark in international cricket.
Yes, we have been on the receiving end of many of those extra cover drives over the years.
Sure you have. And again, as we talked about, sensible, intelligent batting, doesn't get too carried away with having hit a boundary.
Just good.
Calm
good
himself down, blocks the next one. Bowler making sure the next one's on the stumps. And he's flicked that. He's going to pick up the field.
There's been a misfield over there.
Well, 3 runs
deep
really.
Square leg.
It's another boundary.
The ball evades the fielder. He made a hash of it there. Probably didn't expect the ball turning towards
quickly. Yeah, put a bit of spin on it.
The fielders behind square always have to be a little aware of the ball turning.
Perhaps needed to put a bit of a dive in, or at least get his body behind it. He's just sort of reached down to his right, and it's just gone away from him. So, a couple of boundaries in this over.
Yes,
just
the run
putting
rates.
the pressure back on. That
Japan's been able to keep the run rate maintained, keeping it around that run-a-ball figure.
Yeah, 52 for 3 at the end of 9 overs, and 2 boundaries in that over make it a decent one. And I think the longer these two stay together and the more the change bowlers now come in, there will be opportunities to score. And by the time the opening bowlers come back for their final over, Japan will be in all-out attack mode. So
I think so.
it will be a tough proposition for them when they do return.
I think the challenge for the batsman has been the ball which has been bowled wicket stump to stump, because that's the one that is the most difficult to put away because of the low bounce sometimes, and of course there's not a lot of pace on the wicket. Driving through the line is not really a big option unless the ball is pitched right up to the batsman.
It's driven again, but that's sort of squirmed away down to third man. That'll just be a single, I suspect, for Takahashi. Ravichandran happy to take the strike back. Looking at these two, they are quite similar players. I mean, there's obviously an age gap of around 7 years, I think. So the experience head of Ravichandran will be beneficial, I'm sure.
Yes, Takahashi is, of course, the inexperienced one here, but he has a lot of experience playing not only in Japan but back in Pakistan as well, where he shares family heritage. Took the inside edge there from Sabarish. Just manages to scamper through for a single. So Takahashi does have the experience of playing, as you said, hardball cricket on the turf. Not only in Japan but also in Pakistan. He's comfortable playing fast bowling as well as the spinners, as you could see from the sweep shots that he employed against the off spinner there, Hafiz. But against the fast bowlers also, he's very comfortable playing square of the wicket on both sides and is particularly punishing on the drive. But again, I think I spoke too soon. Takahashi makes a hash of another straight one there.
Yeah, there's a lot of that happening, isn't it? That's 4 wickets down, all of them bowled. I think there may have been
one was caught behind, but yes.
one was caught behind, sorry.
Yes, but again...
A hint of movement, but not a lot, was there?
Not a lot, but again, it's the straight ball doing the damage for the Japan batsmen. They have been pretty disciplined other than the wild slogs they have been growing for. I think just putting some body behind the wicket is going to be beneficial for the batters here. But I think the 3 batters who've been bowled have obviously found out otherwise.
Yep, so another wicket down. Japan won't be panicking, as we said, they bat deep. We're still in the 10th over.
We are back into a left-right combination here.
Who's our new batter then? Alex Shilai Patmore, making a long-awaited return. He's been out of the squad for, goodness, I'm going to say since 2013, so I'm going to say about 9 years.
Yes,
He's been waiting to get back in the Japan shirt, usually deployed at the top of the order.
Yes.
But Japan, he's probably the oldest in the squad, I'd say, maybe 34 now, Alex. So he will be under no illusions about what the job is.
Nope.
And
not.
these two guys,
One of the
experience and calmness out in the middle.
Yes, one of the few ones who has experience playing international cricket in the past. Of course, a very long break, very unlike a lot of international cricketers who don't really have this longer break between 2 games. But good to see Patmore back in Japan colours there. Plays his domestic cricket for Wombats. Very effective left-handed batter as well as wicket-keeper for the team. Shirai Patmore.
Yeah, he averaged 100 in the 40-over competition last year, which is
Brad
no mean
Menes.
feat. Some requests coming from the sight screen to get moved.
Yes, some side screen disturbance there.
So, sight screen's been moved. Everyone's happy. I'll tell you who's most happy is Danielson Howell at the moment, who's bowled 9 deliveries, conceded just 4 runs and taken 2 wickets. So he's enjoying his day. Into July Patmore now, lets that one go.
Yes, a very unfamiliar sight.
In T20 cricket, yeah, the leave.
A very conventional batter right there, Shirai Patmore. As you said, a top order batsman usually.
He is,
batting
of course,
here.
He is, of course, Japan men's only centurion at international level.
Very handy bit of information there. Coming in at number 6 today. Strikes the ball well, wide of the third man, who does well to stop that ball, but the batsman scampered through for 2 once more. 2 very experienced batters out there in the middle at the moment. Is going to be a very good sign for Japan to take them through hopefully the next 5 or 6 overs without much damage.
So Alex Patmore made his debut as Alex Patmore back in 2012. And to give you an idea, he is cap number 66. And we're into the 90s today. So it gives you an idea of how we cycle through players. It's the difficulties of keeping players in the game, which is a challenge for all associate nations, I'm sure. But it is definitely something that we're trying to get the young boys in and get them to stay in the game.
Challenging indeed, but I would also say that's thanks to a good level of competition in Japan cricket circles, with a lot of growing number of domestic teams in the 40 over competition as well as the 20 over competition, the Japan Cup, and people from various different backgrounds and communities playing cricket, enjoying cricket all over Japan. 3 very important and very fine venues around the country, and a few more establishments as well, training centers also being operated.
Yeah, there's one down your neck of the woods, isn't there? An indoor training centre, which
very close, coming up in Ushiku, which is very close to Tokyo. Actually, is going to be an important centre for off-season, when, of course, the cold weather is not really conducive for cricket to be played outdoors. But it's going to be very important for the national team and the national setup to be continuing their training off-season as well.
Now, according to the playing conditions, after 10 overs, there is a 2.5-minute drinks break taken, which is something that's written into the playing conditions. I think it's probably something we could do without, personally. I prefer these games to get through a bit quicker. But,
Yes.
Shirai Patmore's only been out there 3 balls, and Ravi Chandran's only been out there 7 balls. I know the bowling team has been out there for 10 overs, but it's not a hot day, is it? It's pretty,
not at all. It's
pretty fresh out there today. So
we're in the middle of the autumn season in Japan, which is a little cooler than, and of course we've had some rain over the last 3 days. The sun is not really out. The bowling conditions are very good. The wicket is wearing a slightly browner look as compared to what you would expect from other wickets that you might have come across, but is going to be these 3 matches are going to be a very important build-up for Japan going into the East Asia Pacific qualifiers.
Well, it's important for a number of reasons. Not only is it excellent match preparation and a chance to have a look at the team and the combinations, both in the batsmen and the bowlers, but actually it's also a real opportunity to get some runs under the belt. A lot of the guys who've come in from Australia haven't played much because it's not the cricket season. I mean, Kendall Kadawaki Fleming has been playing in Brisbane and he's got 500 runs under his belt already, so that's helpful. The other thing that's really important about these games, of course, is that neither of these teams have a ranking as it stands.
You're right.
And in the World Cup qualifier, they will only play 4 matches, and you need to play 6 to get a ranking. So by the end of that tournament, with these 3 matches and those 4 that each team will play, these teams will have a ranking. So that means that in the future, should tournaments get cancelled or rained off or whatever, and the ICC refer back to rankings, then these teams will at least have one.
Yes.
Which does improve your chance of
qualifying.
Being able at least you're on the list.
Yes. Yes, it's very important for associate nations to be playing each other, and of course games are hard to come by in the associate cricket season, being affected by different weather conditions, and of course, COVID has restricted the chances for.
Yeah, well, for us, being an island nation, it's just so difficult to get people over, or for us to
Yes.
travel. It's if you're in Europe, it's that much easier. You can just jump in a car and drive across the border, but it's a little bit harder when you're got to get on a plane. You got to pack the
Yes.
bags. There's a lot that goes
Limited
into an
amount of
international
venues
tour.
as well.
Of course, so very grateful to Indonesia for coming early. It's much easier to be able to do that
Yes.
immediately before or even after an international tournament, just to get those extra games in.
Yes, equally important for Indonesia to get some match practice going into that East Asia Pacific qualifiers. Also gives them a little bit of an idea about the conditions going into next week's fixtures.
Yeah, I'm sure they'll be grateful for
And,
that opportunity.
Yes, and of course, going back to a little more about the lack of match practice that, of course, Japan as a national team have had. Both teams would have probably
That's a chance. It's gone through him.
bounced just short, or probably
4 runs.
the fielder would
So
have.
Ravichandran going after that. Sorry, Tamar, I'm cutting you off. Or you're just off.
No worries, mate. Artha there, the number 7 left arm bowler, wasn't able to judge the flight path of the ball here.
Yeah, he's dropped a bit short. It's the first time we've really seen Hafiz drop short, and
Yes.
Ravichandran was onto it in a flash and pummeled it down behind square. The fielder was in it for a moment, thought he had a chance, but in the end, as you said, couldn't quite get there, gone straight through him as well. So a welcome boundary. 6 runs off this over now with 2 to go. He has been a bit expensive, Hafiz, so I would have
Yes.
thought the spinner would have had a bit more success, but actually it's
Yes.
been the medium pacers who have done the damage so far. And that'll be
A bit
called
of
wide,
turn there, but
and there'll be extras too.
misses the batsman as well as the keeper.
It's a wide signal. So these two, of course, play against each other in the JCL and various other competitions, but in the Japan Premier League, they are on the
Teammates.
same team, in
Yes.
the South Kanto Super Kings, and this year, I
A
believe,
lot of turn there.
yeah, that has turned quite a bit, hasn't it? And that shows that there is a bit in this pitch, and of course, Japan have some good spinners as well, so that there is something for them to be excited about watching that. And
Yes.
Shilai
Takahashi.
Patmore just paddles that in the same sort of direction down towards fine leg, who rushes in and returns that, keeps into 1. The left-right hand combination's back on again. It really is. I'm sure the Indonesian fielders are getting somewhat frustrated with how much they've got to move around.
Yes, I think that's been a feature of the Japan batting this time.
And that's that extra cover drive again. That's going to go all the way, maybe? No. Pulled up just short. Fielder's slipped, but I think he's cut it off.
Fielders seem to have overran the ball once again there. The heavy bounce just slowing it down, and the fielder just about missed it. Managed to recover quickly enough.
Plenty of width offered, and yeah, he's got a hand on it as he slipped, and otherwise that probably would have gone through him for 4. So eventually saved the boundary, not quite how he might have imagined, but
Coming back to the point that I was talking about, Alan, I think one of the competitions that Japan was not able to participate in was the Asian Games cricket event.
Indeed.
That unfortunately got postponed to next year in
yeah,
Hangzhou.
get to do all that paperwork again. Brilliant,
Yes.
can't wait.
Good luck with that once again. Nicely
That's a
struck.
full toss, and that's put away. That will go for 4, I think. Shilai Patmore's not going to miss out on something like that. Just full wide.
Yeah, Shirai Patmore
Guided.
has been waiting for a ball like that to just open his arms, gets his boundary.
Yeah, he's not given too much away, as Hawaii, as our friend Danielson, the most expensive footballer in the world, circa 1994. But that one was a freebie, really. 2 for 6 coming into this over. 2 for 10 now. He'll continue.
Slightly open stance by Shirai Patmore.
And again, just looking to run that into the offside. Asking a bit of his batting partner to get down there, but Sabah's
run
happy
there.
enough to get the strike back, I think.
I think Shirai Patmore acknowledges Sabaurish's scampering there.
A smattering of spectators around the ground today. Aren't there, Tammoy? Good to see some people in the stands, people in the tea room.
Yes, absolutely.
Tomorrow's a
It's-
national holiday, of course, so a lot of people are taking advantage of a long weekend and perhaps travelling out of Tokyo.
Yes,
or
hopefully we'll
surrounds.
have a lot more people coming in tomorrow as well.
Yeah, I think the tournament is the big one. That's when we really do want to see a lot of people here. We've got a big festival going on Sunday the 16th, a week today, so don't miss that. There's a Halloween theme to it, I think. I think I saw there's going to be a haunted house. I'm not sure where they're putting that.
Oh, excellent. It's going to be
all sorts of fun and games.
very festive couple of weeks there for Japan cricket.
You know, the ball is doing quite a lot off the deck. Just watching that delivery again there. Really did jag back. And that's full, almost Yorker length.
As you can see, it's again the straight ball that is causing difficulties to the batsman.
He's bowling wicket to wicket. And they're not quite sure what the ball's going to do. I'm not sure they're fully trusting the bounce, and there is enough movement off the pitch to just ask some questions and get the batsman worried. But at the moment, they are still sitting comfortably enough at just over 6 and over. So, again, as we said, so 130, 140, I think is there, and that's flicked. The fielder's going to get around.
Oh, he
can't get it again.
Really made it. That was very good effort by the fielder down at fine leg.
It's a couple of those that we've seen, haven't we? Flicked into the leg side, boundary rider coming round, not quite able to get there or to cling on if he does get there. This one was just wide on leg stump. He could have left it alone, wouldn't have been a wide.
Yes, that's exactly what I was thinking.
Didn't quite get enough bat on it. It's more of a thick sort of
looking to
edge.
make most of the scoring opportunities that both the batsmen are getting here.
And again, there's no one on the boundary on the offside for Shirai Patmore bar the third man. So if you can hit the gap, there's runs there. There's a misfield, so they'll scamper through for a single.
I think one of the
6
strategies
runs from that over.
One of the strategies by the Indonesian team has been not to bowl the ball right up to the batter, which actually gives them a chance to hit through the line, which is not really. It's quite a challenge to do so when the ball is not really bouncing up or kind of holding on to the surface. Which is why playing the cut shots, which probably Shirai Patmore is looking to do, is not really the easiest shot to play here.
Okay, we've got a new bowler, Artawan. It's your friend, Tamoy, number 0.
Oh, yes.
We're going to find out a bit more about him.
Delightful jersey number 0 is into the field. Looks like he's a leg spinner here, right armour.
Do you think we might see a minus number one day? Someone with -7 on their shirt?
We've had some very interesting numbers, like 3 figures, of course, made famous by Chris Gale and the likes. Single figures, of course, are the norm usually, going after the football and other sports as well. But negative numbers might also come in.
Might be creeping in the next fad. So the leg spinner, let's see what he's got. He's going to bowl to Alex Shirai Patmore. He'll work that away onto the leg side and an easy single. Nothing too dramatic on the first delivery. And Sabarish Ravichandran, of course, a leg spinner himself. So he'll be watching this with interest and seeing how the pitch behaves, because he'll be bowling on it shortly.
Yes, a quick
Patmore
shout.
likely to take the gloves.
Yes,
I would think in this game. He is marked as the wicketkeeper, so he'll keep ahead of Super Navaratna, who is also in the team today, and of course hasn't come into bat yet.
Which is
so we
also,
might be ready for some fireworks when he comes in.
Also a surprise, exactly. He's still in the shed. Navratna will be warming up to go out there and have a very nice hit by himself.
Yeah, one of the most explosive players in Japan, Super Navaratna. Coming back to international cricket for the first time himself as well, of course. He last played for Japan around 2015, I think, out in Hong Kong.
Yes, some long breaks there for some of the returning candidates for Japan there.
So Artawan comes in again. Sabarish is...
Digs
I
it
know
in
that.
short.
Looks to leg side, but there's a fielder out there, so it's a fairly easy single and nothing too dramatic taking place on that delivery, but attacking intense. Sabarish Ravichandran moves onto 18 now. He's brought a bit of momentum and a bit of urgency to the crease, hasn't he?
Yes,
he
has.
came in. He's been a bit more controlled aggression, I think. And he's benefited from a couple of misfields as well, I think, from boundaries.
Definitely. He got the 2 boundaries there in the same over a while back. Digs it in short once again. Shirai Patmore not able to put that away towards the boundary. A comfortable single, although.
Yeah, trying to keep up to speed with the field. They've got a deep square leg,
square.
really, backward square leg, and they've
Yeah.
got a mid wicket and a
Mid-wicket.
long on and a long off.
And a sweeper as well, a sweeper cover.
There is a
out in
sweeper
the
out there. I
off,
keep
yeah.
missing them. So they have got the 5 out now as we get into the 13th over. We're coming towards the.
Once
That
more.
was kept low again.
Drags it in short for the third time in a row.
Use of his wrists to
Still,
generate some power there out to extra cover boundary.
still wringing his hands at the one. Probably hasn't got his release right yet. It's of course a little cooler than expected, of course, for the fielding team, I guess.
Yeah, it was seriously hot even just a week ago.
Yeah.
It was into the mid to high 20s, and it's just temperatures just dropped by about 12 degrees almost
Very
overnight.
strange 10 degrees a couple of days ago.
It's a
Nicely
paddle
played there.
sweep, just a single for Shilo Patmore.
Getting the runs moving, both the batters happy with rotating the strike. The boundaries are hard to come by, of course, on this wicket, but the run rate is being maintained. Change of the over, 79 for 4.
79 for 4 at the end of the 13th over. So 7 overs to go.
Plenty of batters still waiting in the wings for Japan. It looks like Indonesia have made another change in the bowling. It's the captain, Gamantika. Kadek Gamantika coming in to bowl. Interesting.
Yeah, this is the captain.
Yes, the number 14.
So he's been around a while, long in the tooth. The umpire, Chris Thurgate, was telling me before the game started that he first met this guy in a youth tournament about 10 years ago. So yeah, he's come through the system in Indonesia, and these Indonesian players, a lot of them have been part of their youth programs. So yeah, he's gonna see if he can generate the breakthrough.
Nicely
Shirai
paddled
Patmore
there
just
by
paddles
Shirai
out of the way, and
Patmore.
there's work to do for the keeper. They might come back for a second here. It's good running by. Ooh, it's a
Nicely
direct hit. Is that a third direct hit we've seen, Tamoy?
I think it was collected by the keeper.
You
but
reckon it was
yeah, of
collected
course,
by him?
our line of vision was blocked by the keeper, of course. The fielder in deep backward square leg, of course, had a lot of work to do,
It was collected by the keeper. You're quite right.
but well run by.
So you're
Shirai
looking.
Patmore.
You've got the window open. You see, I'm going to blame the slightly murky
Definitely,
window. That I'm
definitely.
looking at.
We'll-
That's exactly why I'm not calling things right.
I think we can
Wrong
probably.
shirt numbers, direct hits, aren't direct hits. Honestly, who employed this guy? And there's a switch hit attempted by Shirai Patmore, and
the
he's
ball
beaten
has
him.
gone through.
Beating the fielder. They're chasing after
Yes.
it. They're not going to catch it.
It's gone through.
Now, I know this was one of the big appeals for Shirai Patmore coming back into the team during the trials earlier in the year. Shirai Patmore was regularly sweeping and reversing and just moving the fielders around. There's very few players in the Japan team who do that.
No,
He
yes,
has the skill
you're
set.
right.
He's very much a touch player.
Yes.
And the ability to do that is definitely something that the coach was keen to have in the side. And we've got so many players used to opening the batting for their clubs. They're all top order batsmen, but they're switching again. He's
One
going
more.
over the top this time, and that's going to be easy 4 runs. So
Yes,
Shirai
the-
Patmore is working out exactly how to play these guys, and all of a sudden
Excellently
he's
played.
striking at a higher strike rate than his batting partner at the moment, Savarash Ravichandran.
Both
So
on 19 at the moment.
people won't-
23 Shirai Patmore has moved on to.
People won't necessarily be expecting Patmore to be the one with the higher strike rate, but when
He's-
you've got the skill set that he has and the field up like it is, these are the things that he can do to manipulate. And now they've reacted. They've put a third man back in, so it'll be interesting to see what he does next. He very much set that shot up early, didn't he?
Yes.
Let's see what he does this time. So yeah, more
Another
conventional
full
sweep
toss.
this time. Fielder
Another
will
full
come
toss.
round.
The batters are. I think they decide against taking the second this time. The fielder did make his ground a little faster this time around, but yeah,
These two guys looking to put the pressure back on the fielding side and just ramping up their scoring now.
Gamantika's rhythm has been disrupted a little by Shirai Patmore's attempts at reverse sweeping the first 2 balls, of course. The third ball also a full toss, which Shirai Patmore wasn't able to capitalize this time on. But both the batters out there are very good players of spin.
His partnership's up now.
Drops it in short. And this
6
is
runs.
the first 6 of the
First
innings.
6 of the day. Absolutely carted into the stands by Subarish Ravichandran.
Hammered by Ravichandran.
This over is not going the way that the Indonesia captain would have wanted. He would have been coming on hoping to really have an impact. Instead, he's dropped short. He's conceded 2 boundaries to Shilai Patmore. Now Ravichandran's put him away for a maximum. So this is becoming a great over for Japan.
Most expensive
Already
so
we've
far.
got 17 from it with 1 to come. And this partnership is really gathering momentum. 42 runs from it.
Rather well struck to the offside,
No,
but
just
just
trot a
the
single
one.
that time. It might be a bit of a contest going on between these 2 batters.
Yes, indeed.
The 2 old heads. 1 on debut, 1 returning. It'll feel like a debut for Alex Shilai Patmore. I spoke to him this morning and he said it was like meeting an old friend when he got given his uniform yesterday. He put on the shirt again. He's like, oh, haven't seen this for a while.
As long as it fit.
Yes, it did. I think some of them were a bit tight, but
I think Shilai Patmore has
boys
done a
did
good
okay.
job in maintaining himself over the last 9 years.
He has. There's no issues with his fitness.
Absolutely. Fantastic batter to watch as well. Very elegant left-hander. And I think they're complementing each other very well out there.
Well, this is a
Ravichandran
43-run partnership from 27 deliveries now, so a real change in tempo from Japan.
Definitely.
You know, at the 10-over mark, there were 56 on the
Yeah.
board, and we were talking about 120 as a good score.
Yeah.
Well, they'll be looking up towards now 150, 160, with hitters to come.
With wickets in hand, I think, yes.
And that will really put
they are able.
put the
They're going to be
Indonesians
able
under
to
pressure
push.
if they can do that. So let's
Next
see how
ball's
Indonesia.
back.
Well, they've started losing their rhythm with the bowl, haven't they? Another high full toss. They've got away with it.
Yes, Ravichandran not able to capitalize as much as he would have liked, going for another big shot, but fielded there in deep backward square.
It was
The
dipping. He's a little lucky that wasn't called, you know. That could easily have been called. No ball.
Yes, very marginal out there, but
50-50 call. He was Sabarish is looking at the square leg umpire and looks somewhat perturbed when the arm doesn't go out for the no ball.
Chris Thurgate being very
And Shilai
very
Patmore just
astute in his decisions. here.
absolutely. Shilai Patmore just doing what he does. Really, he's making sure he's retaining the strike. Not a lot of dot balls when you bowl to a batsman of his quality. And you know, I think when you were watching these guys play, you see the contrasting styles of them both, but they can be seriously effective for Japan in this middle order. A change of role for Alex Shilai Patmore. It's not what he's used to, but he's showing why the coach wants him there.
Excellently struck, but straight to the fielder, deep backward square this time by Ravichandran.
Artawan bowled a decent first over, but doesn't seem to be threatening too much and relatively easy to milk. So just plenty of singles, and you know, if you can top up those singles with 1 boundary and over, suddenly you go from sort of 5 and over to 8 or 9 and over, and you know that does put pressure on the bowling team.
That's
kept low.
gone through. That's gone through the defenses.
Very
Shilai
low.
Patmore was looking good for a big score there, but
Yeah, he's looked to put that into the leg side. Another shot of aggression, but that one has just gone through him, and it's disappointment for Alex Shilai Patmore, but he's certainly done his job. It has turned.
it did turn. It turned right into the wickets, just not getting up at all. Shilai
Wry
Patmore
smile
was
from the batter as he leaves. He'll be frustrated because he's looking pretty good. 25 off 17. He's really helped bring the momentum back to the innings.
I was just about to say that
Got the
the
100 up the ball
spinners,
before.
the spinners have not been able to control the game as much as Indonesia would have liked to, and just then Artawan has come back and broken the partnership.
Yeah, so 100 up for Japan, but 5 wickets down now. 14.4 overs bowled, so still plenty of opportunities. Still 32 deliveries to go. So 150, I would say, is on the cards. And a lot is going to depend on what happens with this next batter, I would say. Supan Navaratne's in. Sabarish and Supan is a combination that I think a lot of people have
It's
been waiting a long time to see at
It's
the
a
crease
combination
together.
to be feared in Japan cricket circles, and here's hoping that there is some fireworks out there in the middle.
Yeah, I mean, if Supan gets going, then who knows what the score
I think it's a
could be anything.
perfect platform for these two batsmen. 100 for 5 in the 15th over, 5 overs to go, 5 wickets in hand. It's just the right platform for Japan to go out there, play some shots out there, get their scores as high into the 7 runs and over mark, or maybe higher.
Navaratna batting in a cap. Just
Stockily built right-hand batsman.
he does look like
Navaratna.
he spent the last 3 years in the gym.
He probably has. He's probably made the most of the lockdown situation as well. He's a powerful striker of the cricket ball
He
as
has
well.
bulked up, and he does look like him. And he was a quick hands and a powerful hitter anyway. But that extra strength may well come in handy. The one thing I would say about Navaratna as a player is he can face a few dots.
Yes,
He
he
makes
will.
up for it once he gets going.
Exactly. That's
But-
going to be the challenge, to have Ravichandran, of course, who's the set batsman, not be, hidden away from the strike, because he has been playing well, rotating the strike well. And as long as Navratna can play into that combination, I think both of these batsmen can strike another very fruitful partnership as the last one was.
Well, that's a good over. I mean, just 3 from it and the wicket, of course. So 100 for 5 or 15. And as we look,
Another new bowler for
looks like
Indonesia
another new
coming
bowler. This will be Mohammed Anjar Tadaris. So Tadaris, again, he's been around a little while, if I remember. It's a name that sounds familiar to me from 4 years ago.
Another a medium pacer coming into the play. I think Indonesia haven't really had success with their captain going for a very expensive over.
Yeah, just the one over there. So they've turned to Tadaris, and it's started
Very
with a full
high.
toss.
That's
no one
been
down
called
there.
a no ball as well.
Absolute gift.
Called a no ball as well by the square leg umpire. Going to be another scoring
Yeah.
opportunity.
Now, I don't know if it's being picked up on the stream, but there is a chant that the Japan men's team give off whenever they hit a boundary of Doskoi.
Doskoi
And when it's
is
a
the
six,
chant.
it's Doskoi, Doskoi.
And we have a free hit coming up, and will be interesting to see Ravichandran lining up for another free hit there.
So the Doskoi shout is from sumo wrestling, for those wondering where that comes from.
That's
So
a very interesting bit of information there, Alan.
the umpire just making sure the fielder hasn't moved because it's a free hit, can't change in the field. So it's just sending square leg back, and he's looking to ramp it. Low percentage shot.
Yes, not
Tabash,
really
I'm
the
not sure that's what I
choice
would have
of shot I
on
would
a
have.
field that's not bouncing predictably.
Precisely.
I think you might be
Precisely.
better off going for a more
Down the wicket.
or just a more conventional shot. He's
Yes.
premeditated it. He's not too far away, and there is no one behind, so I can see why he's tried to do it. But
Nicely bowled there.
picks up the fielder at short mid wicket, so no run from that one.
Good comeback by Tadaris. Of course, a very wild start to his over, but has come back, bowled a very good free hit ball for no run, and another one after that. The batsmen have rotated and taken a single for Ravichandran. Navratna is back on strike now. Both the right-handers in the middle this time. The left and right combination has somewhat worked, and now, of course, we have 2 right-handers out there.
So one of the reasons that Super Navaratna doesn't open the batting in this team, I think, is that concern around too many dot balls.
Yes.
So he's not had a lot of the strike.
And there you go.
Ravichandran gets hold of that. One bounce 4 over mid wicket.
Navratna there. That's Navratna there.
Oh, that's Navaratna going.
yes.
Sorry, I'm looking at the wrong.
The
Wrong
strike
thing on
had
the
changed the
scoreboard. So-
previous ball, but yes.
This is what Super Navaratna can do. He will be sent out there very much with clear instructions
he was waiting for
to
that.
hit the ball.
He was waiting for that. It was a leg side ball, so he did have the license to go for it. Right there in the slot in the zone for Navratna to flick the ball very disdainfully towards mid wicket.
Abby, that'll be you, please. Sorry, just heard me on the radio. They're just umpires calling for a spare ball. The Wataru Miyauchi out on the field having a chat with the umpires, just bringing out a spare ball. If you were just lucky enough to hear me having a quick chat with our scorers, Abi Dewan and Wataru Miyauchi on the scores today. Thanks to those guys for offering to step in on a Sunday afternoon on a long weekend. Doubling up as the spare ball runners as well. So Supan Navaratna off the mark, just like his colleague, is off the mark with a boundary. His batting partner Sabaris did the same. And these two guys, if they can get motoring, Japan will know that they could have a big total on the cards here. So a good follow-up from Tadaris.
Yes, he's been a bit of a mixed bag, Tadaris. 2 boundary balls followed by two very good balls to avoid a free hit, and as well just bowling in a few dot balls there. Navratna, as you said, is not really of a similar mold to the previous batters.
And going aerial again. That's going to clear the fielders by a distance. 6
Big
again.
hit by Sabarish Ravichandran there.
Ravichandran's got his eyes in. The hunger's in. Into 39 now from 25 deliveries, and Sabarish Ravichandran is looking to enjoy himself, I think.
Excellently struck by Ravichandran. He's batting against the leg spinner. He bowls a bit of leg spin, so he's very familiar and comfortable batting against leg spin. Even though it was against the spin, he lined it up very well, slog swept it cleanly out.
Well over the wicket. I think the guys on the scoreboard were taking cover, weren't they?
Yes, right next to the scoreboard, well clear of the boundary line.
I see Shu Noguchi down there in the yellow shirt just collecting that ball and getting it back. He's helping out on the scoreboard. Former Japan under-19 player, played in the World Cup, of course. And that's another
nearly yorked
full
himself
toss,
there.
really.
Wild throw again, once by the number 2 player
Tadaris.
the bowler.
Bowling. He's in the gully now. So Navaratna and Ravichandran's having a quick chat. Navaratna, of course, is someone who's umpired him a bit. He is renowned for taking his time between deliveries, and I'm sure the umpires will be telling him to get on with it. He does like to go through his routine.
Yes, he does have a bit of a routine going in just before he takes strike.
The game's up to an hour and 20 minutes now, this innings already, so they are somewhat behind time, which is a bit of a concern given the light.
Nicely struck, but straight down to mid-wicket. Just the one for Navratna this time. The run rate has been creeping up slowly thanks to the hard hits by Navratna and Ravichandran there. I think Japan is looking very solid at the moment. Another 3.5 overs to go.
Yeah, run rate's over 7 now, so it's been a steady climb throughout. Oh goodness, that was horrible.
The leg spinner has had it
He's lost
found
that
it difficult.
completely.
Leg spinner has had it difficult to grip the ball, seems like. Of course, cold hands are not really helping.
That is straight down the ground.
Sweetly struck down the ground.
Just be a single. No, they will scamper back for a second. So again, this theme throughout the innings of running hard and making the most of what's on offer continues.
Excellent run by Navratna and Sabarish. A little bit of misfield out there by at long off, but
it's another full delivery.
Ravichandran has
Struck
squeezed it out
sweeper
to the offside.
So it's another productive over this so far.
Arthawan has been rather expensive in his in this particular over.
12 from it with one to come. Yeah, he'd been doing okay up until this. eyeing up that mid-wicket region again, but just a single this time. That's the end of the over. 123 for 5. Should take this opportunity just to say hello to some of the viewers we've got from around the world. Plenty of people in the comments. Plenty of guys and girls from Indonesia by the looks of things, and we've got plenty from Japan as well. And wherever you're watching, thanks for joining us. We will be live streaming all of these games in the Japan-Indonesia series. Myself and Tamway will be keeping you company.
That's right, and it's free on YouTube.
It is on the JCA YouTube channel or the Fan Code app in India. So wherever you are, feel free to get involved. Jump into the comments, say a quick hello, or hashtag JPNVIDN on Twitter. And we will have a check, read out your comments if you say something good. And we're always happy to engage with anyone who's out there. So looking forward to hearing from you.
Absolutely. Looking to have a bit of fun out there. Watching some very good quality associates cricket in action at a very, very pretty venue here in Sano in Tochigi Prefecture in Japan.
One of those things, of course, that the East Asia Pacific region is probably the least well-known associate cricket region because we haven't played in so long.
Yes.
And what people do know tends to be more of the Pacific region through Papua New Guinea specifically.
Yes.
And the East Asia region is a bit of a black spot, but we're doing our best to correct that, create some heroes, and get some people able to learn a bit about these players.
Yes, the Japan under-19 men's team gathered a bit of attention back in 2019 during the under-19 Cricket World Cup. And some of the players, of course, have managed to play for the senior team since then.
Yeah, definitely. We've got a few out there. Oh, goodness me. That was another full toss.
Made a hash of it by Ravichandran this time.
He looks annoyed at himself too, doesn't he?
Yes. Missed out on a very good opportunity to score a boundary there.
Yeah, plenty going on today.
Nicely struck by Navratna down the ground. Just there's a direct hit there,
And this time's out.
umpire Thurgate has lifted his finger without even having a doubt. Ravichandran scampering back for the second probably wasn't the best decision, taking on the arm of long off there. Number 44, that's Ramamurthy, who has hit the stumps on the full. That's a terrific throw down there from long off.
Well, we've had plenty of warnings, haven't we? They've been hitting the stumps throughout the innings, and it was kind of felt like it was only a matter of time before they
Indeed.
nailed one.
Indeed. Navratna was quite comfortable not denying sending back Ravichandran for the second, but Ravichandran was quite keen on coming back for a second and eventually had to pay the price for it.
Yes, Barish Ravichandran will be disappointed, I'm sure. But
Yes,
he's played a vital knock.
He's played an excellent innings, was looking good for a half century on debut there.
Yep, so the new man out. Looks like Leo Sakurano Thomas.
It is indeed the vice captain.
May well be taking the new ball, so pretty high quality player to be coming in at number 8 in this team. Oh, goodness me.
Struck well by Navratna.
Going to be caught.
It's already been
he's dropped the catch, but it was clearly a no ball.
it's already been signalled no ball by the square leg
The
umpire
arms are
there.
out, so it's going to be another free hit.
One more free hit.
So
The batsmen have come back for 2, so the field stays the same.
So it's doing a few things, this Tamoy. Not only is it giving Japan extra opportunities to score some free runs, but also it's slowing the game down.
Indeed.
It is a murky day.
Yes.
It is going to get dark.
Yes.
We're
and,
already over time by
a few
well, we're
minutes.
coming up to 7 minutes now.
Oh, good comeback. That's a good
That's a
ball
good
to
ball.
follow up. Artha there, of course, the
Left arm is returned.
coming back for his final over.
But yeah, so it just extending the overs with wide and no balls, it's going to make it harder for Indonesia to bat.
Indeed.
batting second.
Especially if there is a little bit of interruption, if the rain does come in, we're probably going to be looking at restricted or reduced number of overs.
Well, hopefully we don't get to that, but I'm just more worried about the light because it does get dark. The game's not due to finish. It has
gotten dark.
The game's not due to finish until 4:40.
Yes.
But the way things are going, we could be creeping towards 5 o'clock. And having been here every day for the last however many months, I can tell you that it does get pretty dark.
It does, and very quickly at that.
Another full toss.
Smashed that down the ground.
That is, well, I would be calling that 4 runs if that was me.
Well stopped, but
I
of course we have a better view
right
of
down in front of
proceedings.
us. I can see that the fielder, I'm fairly certain, leg was on the ropes.
I think you'll be able to see that.
I can't quite capture it on the stream. Still,
good work.
I do have my walkie-talkie, but I'm not really sure it's my place to get involved. I said to the umpires that if they ask me, I'll give them my opinion, but I don't want to disturb them whilst they're out there.
End of the over there, 130 for 6. New bowler coming in.
2 overs to go.
It's actually Koda returning for his final over, who's had excellent figures up until now.
Yeah, he did all the damage up top, didn't he?
Yes.
And Rael Sakurano waiting to face his first ball in international cricket. And I wonder, he'll be looking for boundary options. And off he goes. Well, he didn't want that to hit.
Close call. Navratna has come back for the second after the overthrows.
So yes, a free run there for Rael Sakurano Thomas, who'll be happy to have got off the mark, I'm sure. He's someone who describes himself as not really a T20 player. I'm not sure I agree. I've seen enough of Rael with the bat to know that he can be very effective. We saw him in a match where he had to go and pick up his grandparents from the train station. So he knew he was running late, and I saw him go through the gears pretty spectacularly. So if he bats like that every time, then he can be very effective.
And he's a very handy bowler out there.
Well, yes, I'd be surprised if he doesn't take the new ball. I guess it'll be a question of whether or not they opt for spin up top. Of course, Kohei Kubota's in the side as well. He might fancy his chances with the with the ball.
Tall, medium pace bowler, Kubota.
So, Sakurano Thomas with 10 balls to go in this innings. Japan 132 for 6. They'll want 150, I think. Oh, this guy, he's bowling beautifully, I've got to say.
He's had an excellent run out there, Koda.
Sounds a bit Mexican, Rogelio Maxi Koda. But he's got plenty of bite in his deliveries.
Yes, a little bit of zip out there as well.
He's getting it. There was a bit of swing there. Just as it's late, kind of almost dipping in a little bit. And I'm wondering if it's doing something off the pitch as well. So, difficult to play. He's certainly been the pick of the Indonesian bowlers.
Oh, by a
bad on ball that time and the way into the leg side. They'll come back for 2. It's good running.
Navratna's been...
it's a direct hit again.
Direct hit. It's excellent fielding by the outfielders.
I mean, I've lost count. 5?
Easily
4,
5. Easily hits? 5. There's number 25, I think, this time. Budiarta, who has smashed the stumps from
miles away, side on.
Navratna just did well enough to scamper back into the crease.
The throw deserves more, doesn't it?
Definitely. But the direct hits have been incredible from the fielders by Indonesia.
Koda again. They'll get the single again. They may well look for 2 again. No, just 1 that time. I think they're learning their lessons now.
Navratna has been away from strike this entire over. He finally has 1 ball to face, 7 balls to go for the Japan innings, and they'd be looking to make the most of it. They're still shy of that 140 mark, of course, and they would be happy with that, but they would be hoping to take that away as close as they can to 150.
Yeah, I think he'll be looking probably mid-wicket or long off, sort of extra cover be where I'd be looking if I was Super Navaratna. Well, he's looked for extra cover, but it's just a single.
I think he's kept the
Couldn't generate any
strike.
power. He wants the strike, which is fair
He's
enough.
kept the strike, which is a smart move by Navratna.
So
A very good spell by Koda there.
Yeah, he's just 6 from that over, returning for his 1 over.
1
So
for 17 from
1
his
to
4
17
overs.
from 4, yeah.
Excellent spell.
With a
Excellent
wicket
spell.
maiden in there as well, I think.
Yes.
So he really has been an asset for his team. His captain will be pretty happy with how he's gone.
I
Help
think
restrict the Japan boys up front.
The delightfully named Danielson Havo is returning
for his for the final over, the 20th over of the innings. He has probably been the second best bowler in the Indonesian lineup this term. And Navratna would be trying to make the most of the last 6 balls out there, Japan rather. They still have a little bit of batting to go, so Navratna would be trying to make the most of these 6 balls. And of course, Sakurano Thomas, who's made a good start to his innings as well, 5 of 5.
Yep, 2 for 13 as he comes back into the attack for Danielson. So Navratna's moving across, looking to get that out into the leg side. He's picked out the fielder, so just a
the
single.
one. Another very good throw from the deep.
Yeah, you can tell that these boys do spend a lot of time practicing their fielding.
Yes,
You know, the
clearly
throwing, just the amount of times they hit the stumps, the arms were good. They move pretty well.
very strong
in the
arm from
field.
the outfield as well. Yes, the ground fielding probably hasn't been the best feature of the Indonesian bowling fielding effort rather. But yes, you can't fault the throwing.
See, the captain, Kalawaki Fleming, has come down to have a look at this far, and that ball's gone absolutely nowhere, but they've gone through for a single.
Ball stayed there on the crease, but Navratna managed to scamper home.
Kalawaki Fleming's doing a lap, just walking down past the sight screen below us. Going to be passing the tea room in a moment. Wonder if he'll pick himself up a drink. He'll be looking to see how the ball's behaving from both ends, I suspect.
It'll also be interesting to see the amount of time that Indonesia has taken to complete their overs if the number of overs are docked for Indonesia in their chasing effort.
Do you know what? There's a rule, and I don't know what the rule is. You're not allowed fielders out, but they've still got 5 fielders out, so I'm not entirely sure what the rule is. It's the new rules, the new playing conditions that
That
came
did
in.
not take off anywhere, and I think that's going to be
That's
one
gonna
more
be out.
wicket.
Sakurano Thomas came charging down. Navratna didn't want a bar of it. And
Sacrifices his
another
wicket
run
there.
out, so no surprise there. Another direct hit, sorry.
Another
so it's
direct hit.
another run out.
This time, probably the closest, the easiest of the direct hits that
It's
we
the
have
bowler
seen.
who did it. Yeah, took his time, didn't panic. Sakurano Thomas out of his ground.
We'll probably get to see Makoto Taniyama finally coming in. Also batting much lower than he usually bats in domestic cricket for his team.
Yeah, another one who usually opens the batting.
Yes, exactly. Finds himself at an unfamiliar number 9 coming in for this game. But a very, very handy batsman, as you've already heard, opens the innings for his domestic team.
He was opening for Japan last time they played international cricket. So I
That's
don't know
that's
if over a 4-year period he's gone from opening the batting down to number 9. What that says about his batting.
That's a hefty demotion. I hope it's more to do with the problem of plenty that Japan had.
Yeah, I think it probably represents more of the quality that have come into the side.
Yes,
rather than
definitely.
Tani himself, but
3 more balls to go, and 140 is of course on the cards. Whether they can get a few boundaries in here.
yeah, of course, several new playing conditions that have come in.
Well bowled.
It's going to be a dot. Yeah, so fielders are supposed to come inside the circle if you're slow on the overs, and of course if the batters cross when the ball's in the air, that the new striker takes
strike.
strike regardless. So yeah, there's a few things I haven't quite got my head around them. I should probably have a read.
Yes, the new playing conditions have been put in play.
That's struck well enough, but
I think the batsman
Tanyama's
will be able
gonna
to
come
return,
back.
taking on the arm once again. But Navratna has managed to get home this time.
So 140's up. They're not going to make 150.
Yeah,
One
Japan-
ball to go.
I think Indonesia has made a good comeback the last 2 overs. They haven't really given much away.
So you say Japan have made, at the moment, they've made 84 from the last 10 with 1 ball to go.
Yes.
So that's a decent effort given the start they'd made.
Well struck
Hit
down the
cleanly.
ground,
They'll-
but
they'll
straight
probably
to
come
the
for
fielder. Makoto Taniyama has come back for a second,
They
and
will
I
come
think
back for two. So it
Navratna
all counts.
has also made his ground.
142 for 7 at the close of the innings.
Good effort
15
there by
away to the time.
Navratna to finish off the innings.
Yeah, I think he'll probably be a little disappointed. He's finished 17 not out of 19 deliveries. It's not quite the role he was set into play, but I think we saw with all the players out here, it was difficult to start on, and we saw this in the JCL T20 finals as well. Once a batter is in and set,
Yes.
we saw that with Shilai Patmore and Ravichandran, they were
Yes.
able to accelerate the scoring, but getting in, it takes a bit of time. It's not
Yes.
easy to come in and hit from ball one, and I think
Yes,
Navaratna's
and it was
innings that showcases
as you
that
could see,
better.
most of the batters found it difficult to clear the boundaries, find the boundaries on a regular basis. Ravichandran was one of the rare ones who was able to do that. But I think Japan would be more than happy with the total that they've finished with. Although Indonesia did come back strong the last 2 overs. Of course, they had their best 2 bowlers bowling the last 2 overs, of course, and. Havo here finishing up with 2 for 19, the best figures for Indonesia here. But of course, the standout bowler was Koda, who even though he got just the 1 wicket, but he finished with just 17 from his 4 overs.
Yeah, with that wicket
So-
maiden in there was
So
probably the highlight
the
of the innings for
seamers
them.
have done a pretty decent job for Indonesia there. Of course, they would have been happier to have saved some more runs in the field. There was no problems with their fielding efforts, especially with the runouts they managed to effect towards the second half of the innings. But I think overall Japan have done well in the second half of their in the second 10 overs of their innings.
Yep, impressive stuff for both sides. Let's see how good a score it is. We'll be back in around 10 minutes for the second innings. Welcome back to this first T20 international between Japan and Indonesia at the Sano International Cricket Ground. And you got myself, Alan Kerr, Head of Cricket Operations at the Japan Cricket Association, and Tanmoy Mukherjee on commentary. Japan have made 142 for 7 from their 20 overs and are now in the field looking to restrict the Indonesian batters. We have Priyandana out in the middle, ready to take on the first ball, and at the non-striker's end, Tadaris is going to be limbering up. The umpires are out there. Taking the new ball looks like Ibrahim Takahashi, the off-spinner.
Yes.
And they're ready to go.
Takahashi rather predictably taking the new ball, which he often does with the Chiba Sharks as well. Right hand off spinner, right armour.
So having a look at his field. First ball's blocked back to the bowler. He's got a deep square leg and a long on, it looks like. So not too much behind the wicket. He'll be looking to turn it into the batters. So with a short mid-wicket and a short fine leg.
Yes, Takahashi doesn't really try to turn the ball so much. Anyway, it's a brand new white cricket ball, which is very difficult to grip and turn. So he tries to bowl it as flat as he can. Doesn't really try to flight the ball in the initial stages. And of course, has modelled his action very similar to Graham Swan of England.
Indeed, yeah. He said he's watched a lot of Swanee videos. Pretty good option.
Yes.
Someone to bowl on.
And
Swanee, of course, put a lot of revs on the ball, though.
Yes, of course. A very different kind of a bowler also, Graham Swan.
Aggression there at the start.
Just eluded the short mid-wicket fielder there.
And Priyandana's going to come back for a couple. Cut off on the boundary, so first runs for Indonesia in this T20I series. Their first runs in international cricket for 4 years.
Yes, good
They just
work
need
out there in the deep.
They just need 141 more. That is
That's
dropped.
been grassed. But there's a run
There's
out.
a run out. Oh, goodness me. Well, I think that's Declan Suzuki who put the catch down and then fired it straight back in. The batters weren't ready. They weren't prepared. He's just tossed it back gently, but he's done enough.
Priyandana did not really back up after hitting that shot. Somewhat kind of lost out there in the middle and did not make ground eventually. And as a result, the wicketkeeper Shirai Patmore, if I'm not mistaken, whips off the bails through an accurate throw from Suzuki there. And all's well that ends well, except for Takahashi not having a wicket to his column. But Indonesia are one down nonetheless. 2 for no loss, chasing 143.
Yeah, disappointing from an Indonesia point of view. It was just a bit aimless, wasn't it? He just sort of wandered out of his crease. I think he thought he was out because he thought the catch was going to be taken. So he's almost started walking off. And the throws come back in and he's not really showing any urgency. And all of a sudden his bails are off and he's back in the hutch. It looks like, is that the captain?
Yes, that's the captain Gamantika who's on strike, taking guard at the moment.
He'll have a bit of motivation after that one over he bowled, which didn't go so well.
Yes, he would like to make that up at least.
He's out there earlier than he would like. Just looking at the comments on our YouTube channel. A few people saying that this is not the Japan #1 team. I can assure you that it is. Vinay Iyer. This is obviously a Vinay Iyer fan, but Vinay unlucky not to make the 14 for the tournament.
Yeah,
course.
but there are enough
competition.
opportunities coming up for.
Yeah, Vinay may well get to play in this series. We'll see.
Yes.
Looking to use all 17, is my understanding. There's 14 players for the tournament squad and 3 reserves. Vinay's one of those reserve players, but Vinay's game is probably a little more suited to the longer format cricket.
Yes.
And T20, he's just short of the side, unfortunately. So
Also, it's
whilst Priyashan may think that Vinay should be in the side, so that is an opinion that I'm sure a lot of people hold, but in this, the coach and the selectors, they're the ones who make the decisions. And at this point, Vinay's not quite getting in.
And
He's pretty keen to make up for that, and I'm sure if he gets a chance, he'll look to cash in. But it looks like now, as we discussed, Leo Sakurano Thomas will take the new ball from the school end.
Indeed. Coming back to Vinay Iyer, I think also as we talked about, the talent pool is very difficult to choose from. It's a very, very talented group of individuals there in the Japan squad.
Yeah, and I think it's just a case of picking the youngsters.
Oh, that's beautifully bowled by Sakurano Thomas. The ball
Full,
leaving
just
the right
moving
hander. Beautifully bowled.
Yeah.
Hint of outswing there. Very nicely bowled. Perfect length to begin with as well.
Yeah, he's hit his straps from ball one, hasn't he?
Yes, right on the money.
Beaten the batter completely. We watched Rao in a bowl of 4-over spell 2 weeks ago.
One more.
He got 5 nicks in 3 overs, I think he bowled.
Yes, he's been...
And in T20 cricket, that's not something that you get a lot of. So.
Not at all. I think the wind is also aiding his style of bowling. There is two slips in
a
place.
second slips come in. So
Yeah.
Super Navaratna at first, of course, is a wicketkeeper himself, so he'll be used to that. And it looks like Lachlan Yamamoto has gone in at second slip.
Yes,
and that's nearly guided straight to him too.
Ravichandran is out there and mid-on at the moment, backing up to the wicketkeeper right now.
Yamamoto Lake, pretty distinctive with that hair.
Yes. There's a good head of hair. Enjoy it while it lasts.
Yeah.
From two much older individuals sitting out there in the
Let's not talk about hair, Tamar. You're doing all right, mate. You look just fine.
Just about.
I just have to keep my hat on all day long. Rail Sakurano, and again, that's a nice
Nicely
looking
struck.
shot. Driven
Nicely
really nicely. I'm not sure it's going to go. Fielder tearing after it. That's Takahashi down there. He'll
Once
ping that
more
back in. So
the heavy outfield.
just a single, I think they've got for it. It's a good shot for one run, isn't it?
Yeah, the batters could have probably run a little harder and made it at least a 2, because as good a fielder as Takahashi is there out on the field, it was still quite a bit of a run for them.
Yeah.
Takes the edge once again, but through the gap between gully and slip, finds third man, but extremely lucky for the captain Gamantika to be out there still.
Well, with these cloud cover and a bit of swing around, it's almost English conditions out there right now, isn't it?
Very English conditions indeed. English
Well, they've
summer.
just taken the second slip out.
Yes.
They put them in for the other batter, change of strike, didn't have the slip. If they'd had the second slip, that might have been a simple catch. He's going again. Well,
Excellent.
they're not enjoying this from Sakurano Thomas. The Indonesian
Excellent
batters
bowling by
are
Sakurano
really
Thomas.
struggling
That's a
to
very fine
get
first
hold of
over.
him. Yeah, 4 runs from it. Could easily have had something in the wicket column. He refers to himself as something of an unlucky bowler, Leo Sakurano Thomas. He said he never takes fifers. He's doesn't get the rewards he deserves, I think. It's how he put it.
It's quite a thing with some of the bowlers. It just happens like that some of the opening bowlers do not get the credit or the wickets
You can bowl
that they
beautifully
deserve.
for not many runs, and then one
Yeah.
day you bowl horribly and you'll pick up 6.
Yes, but unfortunately, on the other side, what happens is you do build up the pressure, and the wickets continue to fall from the other end. And
Well,
it's
it's one of
the other
those things,
bowler
particularly in T20 cricket. You might bowl a beautiful 3-over spell to start with, and only give away 10 runs.
Yeah.
Then you come back for the last over at the death and
That's
give away 15, and your figures don't look so good.
No, not at all.
There's a big appeal. Nothing doing. Takahashi continuing bowling wicket to wicket.
Yes, one bad over is all it needs to ruin the runs column and the figures for any bowler out there. Takahashi has started well here. He tries to drift the ball on the seam, of course. Has a very unique release point, which means that the ball doesn't really turn, but it really almost skids on to the
I'm not
batsman.
sure what's happened there. Very slow for the ball to come back in.
There's an appeal for LBW there.
Appeal from LBW. I think there could have been a run-out chance as well. So it's
That
clearly
did
going
look
down leg
pretty
side, but the
Yeah.
stump's out the ground, but
Batsman was
not
comfortably
much of a run-out chance on, I don't think.
Yeah, just
With the gardening being done, get the stumps back in, but yeah,
Shirai
Takahashi is definitely asking some questions of the batters. Getting a second over, which is a bit of a surprise. We talked earlier in the Indonesian bowling innings. That,
Yes.
You know, they bowled their same 2 bowlers for the whole power play, and we mentioned that Coach Bedingfield often likes to rotate his bowlers through, but Kadawaki Fleming is the skipper. He's out there making the decisions, fielding at sort of short, fine leg at the moment.
Takes
And,
the inside edge.
Takahashi's got a second over. Not giving a lot away either.
Yes, the Indonesian batters have found it hard to rotate the strike so far. Of course, we are just into the 3rd over at the moment.
But that's the nature of T20 cricket, and batting first, you can impart a bit of scoreboard pressure. And
Yes.
Japan, of course, 140 is just 7 and over. But already, 2.5 overs gone, and the required rate is almost at 8. So suddenly it's like you've scored 160 almost, you know, that mental side of things.
Yes,
The pressure that
and-
comes on for the new batters.
And Takahashi bowls a very tight line. He doesn't really give too much of room to the right-hander anyway. He's bowling wicket to wicket. He has not really strayed down to the legs or to the or to wide of the off stump, forcing the batsman to play straight as much as possible. And another very economical good over by Takahashi finishes up.
Just
with
2
not too
from
many
it.
runs.
So 3 overs gone, 8 for 1. Discussions here. It looks to me like Piyush Kumbhare is going to come on for his first bowl in international cricket. Didn't get a chance with the bat, but he would have been next man in, I suspect. But he will certainly have a go with the ball and left armour. Piyush is
Yes,
possibly
another-
best known to viewers of the Japan Cricket Association YouTube channel for a stunning cordon bowled he took earlier in the year in the Japan Premier League.
that
Absolute
was-
lightning. It was drilled back at him by Lachlan Yamamoto Lake, as it
Yes.
was. And he flung himself to high to his left and grabbed it. So he's good reflexes. He brings good control. And again, this is part of the plan to really exert tight lines, tight control to these players.
And also changes the angle with the
Yes,
left-hander.
of course. He's coming around the wicket, which is interesting.
Yorks the batsman right up front. Luz is very different to Takahashi's style of bowling. Likes to flight the ball.
He's coming between the umpire and the stumps, which, as an umpire, I hate it.
He skied the ball, the batter.
In
Fielder
the air
under
a
it.
long time,
And
really casual from
Ravichandran has-
Sabarish Ravichandran, their club mates. They will be delighted at that partnership.
Very nicely done. Very nicely thought out, this wicket.
Yep, the
See
man
if
back
they'll
at
come by it.
long on. Sabarish Ravichandran with the safe hands. Got a wicket for his buddy. Japan are up and running now, and Piyush Kumbhare has his first wicket.
Tadaras didn't time the ball this time. He really skied it. Of course, he did still. Ravichandran was right there on the boundary when he took the catch, but he did not really have enough behind that ball.
Hardly had to move, did he?
No, not at all. Straight down his throat. And Kumbhare has made a very good start to his Japan career out there. Second ball, and he's had a wicket. And viewers, the YouTube viewers of the channel, as Alan mentioned, must be aware of his brilliant cotton bowled effort earlier in the year. It should be featuring in any highlights reel of Associates cricket and the best catches collections when it comes to fielding efforts. The new batter in is also right-handed. Just going through the numbers and the names here.
Yeah, I can hear my walkie-talkie going off telling me who the new batter is, but I'm trying to do a few things at once here and I missed that. So we'll have to find out when he turns around.
Yeah, of course. We'll
It
just
should
have a
flash
look at
up on
his
the
jersey number.
score sheet pretty soon. But yeah, that's a case of the pressure getting to these batters, I think. They're not scoring the runs in these first overs. Required rates already above 8.
Survey.
And these bowlers not giving much away. So
Padmakar Rajaram Survey, number 10.
Survey is in. So yeah, that was very much a release shot from Tadaras to try and get something going, but he just picked out the field.
Yes, the run rate has not really picked up for Indonesia. The run rate is climbing up for them. The required run rate over there, they're still on 8.
Early
2
days, of
wickets down
course.
already. Yes.
Very casual from Sabaros Ravichandran in that catch, wasn't it? He didn't look even
He's a-
slightly bothered.
he's a
Never looked
very-
like he was going to drop
He's
it.
a very confident bloke, isn't he?
Really?
He
Like,
really is.
Some
I
guys,
mean,
you see them all fidgety
it
and drop my
shows.
ball.
It shows even when he's batting, he's very composed. He doesn't really let the. Other than, of course, his celebrations when he's bowling out there.
Yes, that's when
He's
he definitely lets
he
go.
really likes to emote out there.
Tell me, were you playing in the game when he played that remarkable innings against
Yes.
the Chiba Sharks?
Yes, he did.
You were
I
playing in
was,
that game?
as I said, I was at the receiving end of that
yeah.
innings.
So that's when
All we could do was being spectators, very gentle spectators out there.
I can't remember
it
exactly,
was-
but I'm going to say he scored 120 chasing 145.
Somewhere like
It was
that.
something like that. It was crazy.
He's-
Dougal described it as the best innings he'd seen in Japan.
Probably, yeah, and also he's such a. I mean, as painful as it was for us to be watching from field. Of course, we weren't really. We were in the field when he was flaying us to all parts of the ground, but also he's such a delight to watch as a batter.
Yeah,
very
you kind of
elegant,
knew you were watching something
very
pretty
pleasing,
special.
very pleasing to the eye.
So Piyush Kumbhare has started with a wicket maiden, his first over in international cricket.
What a start to international
He
cricket.
will
Welcome.
be thrilled. Now, it looks like Kohei Kubota is going to come on. Now, he's been in the squad for several years, long-awaited international debut, and I suspect he'll have a few nerves. I know that Kubo does get a bit nervous, but
Gets
gets
the
that
ball to
first one
bounce.
through without too much problem, and he will be one who can generate a bit of bounce.
Yes, he's a tall, fast bowler. He does like to hit the deck. He will take whatever little there is on the Sano wicket and try to use it to his potential. He will not be bowling too full to the batters. He likes to keep it a little back of a length. Doesn't like being driven, of course. Not a lot of fast bowlers like being driven anyway. But he's going to keep the pressure on with the kind of lengths that he operates on, and of course the wicket being up and down, it's going to play to his advantage. Oh, that was a good.
Fizzed in.
That was a ripping throw. Yamamoto leg there, out at cover. A very conventional field, a deep square leg for Kubota. And a conventional third man out in the outfield, and of course the offside channel is backward point cover. There's an extra cover as well on the circle and mid off, followed by 3 in the inside on the leg side as well. He's been right on the money, Kubota, right from the start of his spell. And as we had already talked about, Coach Bedingfield does like to switch his bowlers around, except for Takahashi, who was bowled to. The bowlers are being run through. There are a lot of, as we spoke about, a lot of bowling all-rounders and batting all-rounders in this Japan team.
Oh, there you go. He's just lost one down the leg side.
Yes, trying a bit too much there, Kubota. Number 11 on the jersey.
Now, I've just been updating my spreadsheet here, Tamoy, which is why I've gone a bit quiet. Sorry about that.
No worries,
For the
mate.
Japan cap numbers, and it looks like, I'm not sure he planned this, but Piyush Kumbhare has the number 99 on his shirt. It looks like he is also the 99th player to represent Japan. How's that for a bit of foresight
Excellent
from
foresight there.
Piyush? He will wear number 99, and it's also his cap number, which means the next person
It's going to
to
be the
debut
100th
for
player.
Japan will be the player number 100. So, wonder who that
Which
will be.
might happen as early as tomorrow.
It may well happen. I would fully expect it to happen
Yeah.
tomorrow. A player that we've already been discussing
Definitely.
could possibly
Definitely.
be in line for a game. So
Yes.
we will see. So the Indonesians scampering through. They're struggling. We've not seen any. Have we seen any boundaries yet?
As a matter of fact, we haven't.
So
We've
the Japan
had
bowlers putting them on under pressure, putting the squeeze
Kubota has made a very good start to his spell
Yeah,
as
I
well.
think Kohei Kubota will be pretty happy with that for an opening over.
Yes.
Ball look decent pace.
Good pace, absolutely. He's managed to generate some bounce as well from this rather, I wouldn't call it lifeless, but yeah, a very a pitch which has had two extremes, so to speak.
Bit too pace. Yeah, well, Leo Sakurano's got the ball back in his hand again.
Sakurano Thomas.
So
coming in
again,
for a
that
second.
shows, changing the bowlers, rotating them around. The last over of the power play, Indonesia with just 5 overs gone. They've only got 12 runs on the board, 2 wickets down.
It's a little circumspect there, the Indonesian batters. That has taken off suddenly.
Yeah, that one's popped.
Clipped on the
It's
helmet, I
almost
think.
looked like it, yeah. A couple of the Japan boys just come in to check he's doing all right. Seems fine.
Yeah, I think the ball reared up and probably took the glove on the way to.
I thought
to
it might have
the
come
grill
off
of
his
the
arm
helmet.
guard. Oh, he's not wearing an arm guard. I thought it might have hit him on the elbow. Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
just
just-
hit him in the, popped up and got him in the grill.
Pinged him on the grill over there. It'll just wake him up a little.
Rayo just checking he's all right. No problems. Comes back in. One of the things I would say about the Japan
rare
seam
wide.
attack is they're perhaps a bit nice. Rayo's just too nice.
Not
a
the
guy.
mean fast bowlers that we're used
I want
to.
to see some angry fast bowlers.
Yeah,
who,
not the. I think the pitch also doesn't really help, and it's not really rising up to
Yeah, but
to the
they're-
chin
they're
level.
just really nice blokes anyway. Even Kubota is just,
It's a very
bit shy.
it's very symbolic of the Japanese
Japan,
culture,
yeah.
isn't it? Japan and
is.
Japanese culture, very gentlemanly people. Very the fast bowlers will not be following through very close to the batters, as is quite the norm in international cricket.
yeah, give them
they-
enough space, won't they?
They go back to their mark as soon as they've bowled the delivery.
Sakurano's into his rhythm here as well.
Yes, very good rhythm. He seems to be in, and a very good action, of course. Sakurano Thomas,
Yeah, beautiful
very
approach to the
clean
crease, very
bowling
smooth.
action.
That's high and yeah. Could this be a first wicket for Sakurano?
It
He
is.
takes the catch. Leo Sakurano opens his international account.
Taniyama has taken a very simple catch
Taniyama
there.
was the catch, was it?
Leading edge for Captain Gamantika, who has not been able to, who's had a very poor day out in the field
Yeah,
with the
it's
ball
not been
first
great
and
for
then
him.
with the bat.
Yeah,
Leading
it was
edge.
Taniyama, his club mate, of course. Taniyama looks
Wyvern's-
happier than the bowler. He looks
Yes,
delighted.
Wyvern's teammate.
Wyvern, Sano
Wow,
teammate.
Sano,
Come
rather.
on.
My apologies there.
Okay then, so Indonesia 3 down. Japan were of course 3 down in the power play as well. Were they? Were they 2 down in the power play?
2 down.
2 down in the power play. So wickets down in the power play isn't necessarily a disaster, but what I would say is they are just not getting the runs either, are they?
Also, the scoreboard
Required rates
pressure is a
almost
very
up to
different
9
thing.
now.
It's a very different thing to play with a score, the score on the board already. Runs on the board puts an additional amount of pressure, so to speak, and Indonesia seem to be feeling that a little. 3 down already, 13 on the board. That was one of the differences with the Japan innings, that they kept the runs ticking. The scoreboard kept ticking. They kept taking their
Even
their
though
opportunities.
even though Yamamoto Lake and Kadawaki Fleming and Takahashi didn't get a lot of runs,
They did not.
There was intense.
There
and they
was.
only scored 5, 6, and Kendall got 12 or something.
Yes,
But there was
it was
these guys at the moment, they haven't made any inroads at all.
No, it was a lot of bat on ball,
and taking
just
calculated
runners.
risks to run
Yes.
singles, to taking on the fielders, and we haven't
Yes.
seen that from the Indonesians as yet. So it's a learning experience for them, of course. And one of the biggest challenges,
Solid defense there.
one of the biggest challenges that all international teams have faced who play at our level is you're just playing with the players you have, right?
Yeah.
In your own country, so you
That
haven't
is
been
true.
exposed to a different standard.
No.
So for us and for Indonesia, we haven't played any international cricket for 4 years. We haven't seen anyone from outside of Japan for
Precisely.
almost most of that time.
Yes.
So it's very difficult to know what you're going to come up against, and the standard that
That's
that is beautifully
sensationally
done.
taken by Shirai Patmore.
That is, well, it's deserved for Sakurano. He's been beating the bat multiple times in this innings already.
Yes, a finally conventional
Finally
dismissal.
gets an edge.
That outswinger really working for him this time. Oh, that
And
was
he's a bit more animated with that
superbly
one, isn't he?
held.
Yeah, that's the kind of
Absolutely.
wicket that he wants.
Very, very happy for his teammate Shirai Patmore taking that catch very cleanly with the right hand there. Number 44.
So
Ramamurthy
didn't
is
last too
back in
long.
the shed also. 4 down for Indonesia already, and we are still in the power play. 1 more ball to go, and it's looking precarious for Indonesia at the moment. They still have 130 runs to get here.
Yeah, at this point, you're fearing for them a little bit, aren't you? 2 wickets and 3 balls. There'll be a bit of panic in the dressing room, people trying to get padded up.
Yes. The batters are going through pretty quickly. The bowlers have their tail up also, might I add. They've not had any runs scored against them, which is also boosting their confidence. And of course, the wickets that are following up. Number 9 at the crease, Danielson Johannes
Danielson's in.
Havo.
Had a good time with the ball.
Yes, he was one of their best bowlers out there for Indonesia. Might be replicating that with the bat as
Here
well.
he is at number 6. Last ball of the over. Last
Oh,
ball
he's
power
been
play.
cleaned up.
Gone through him. Sakulano Thomas will be on a hat-trick when he next bowls. But
I have a feeling he
Danielson
will-
Hawaii, who did so much with the ball, contributes nothing with the bat. And at the end of the power play, Indonesia are 13 for 5. And Sakulano is having a great day out now.
Would you have a look at that? The ball seemed to rush through the defenses this time. It skidded on. It wasn't one of those deliveries which was leaving the right-hander. This one came back slightly in, clipped the leg stump, top of leg stump. One bail is still out there, standing on off and middle. But the half of Indonesia's side is back in the hut. That's just 13 runs on the board. 6 overs done, and plenty of work to do for the lower order for Indonesia here. Japan seems to be running through their opposition this time.
The change of bowling, Declan Suzuki got the ball in his hand. You know, he's going to be more of the same. He'll run in a very similar fashion to Leo Sakulano Thomas.
And
Look
Kohei
to,
Kubota
look,
as well.
look to move it around a bit. And Indonesia at 13 for 5 at the end of the power play. It's been rough for them. But Japan, I suspect, will be wanting to show a ruthless streak here. They'll be wanting to really put the foot down and make a statement for these upcoming internationals.
Definitely. Shows Japan to be a strong team with intent, playing at home. It's going to be very good signs for the team going into the East Asia Pacific qualifiers, and of course the next 2 games tomorrow and day after. Well,
It's a nice looking shot. Won't get any runs for it.
would have been gone as well had there been a direct hit. The batter at the non-strikers end not really backing up much, or backing up too much over there.
High front arm.
Number
Declan
7
Suzuki as
there,
he bowls.
Arta, one of the bowlers, the left armers, who had a little bit of success. Dead ball there. Declan Suzuki coming in for his second ball. Firmly defended by the jerseys have been mixed up a little, but Survey out there is listed as number 10 on the list, but he's wearing number 5 out there. In the
Yep, just had to go and reconfirm that. There's a little bit of confusion, but he's put on a new shirt at the break.
Put on a new shirt. It's probably a little nippy out there. A second shirt would have helped. A left-hander in the middle now. The number 7, Arta. And Japan with their tails up.
Tails certainly up, aren't they? Suddenly the boots on the other foot though. Japan fielders got to get themselves across and change positions and get themselves ready. I think the left-right-hand combination that was regularly throughout the innings definitely slowed down that Indonesian bowling.
Yes, but
effort.
I believe they made up for the time thanks to some of the interruptions.
They
that were
did.
there.
The lost ball and a sight screen move and 6-7 wickets down
Yes.
makes an impact. That all adds in. So they started the final over with 1 minute to spare once the extra time was factored in. So no sanctions on the Indonesia team. So
Yes,
they
no
were
overs
pleased with
lost.
that. But they will, as we mentioned, be dealing with the lights. And, you know, we're
And it's
what
still
time is it now, Tammo? It's 10 to 4. And it's pretty dark.
10 minutes to 4 local time. Of course, the sun sets very early in autumn in Japan. But plenty of work to do out there for the Indonesian batters. 14 for 5 at the moment. An uphill battle this time. These two out there will have to string together a partnership of some kind to be able to have some respectability to their chasing effort.
Yeah, with the required rate almost at 10 and over, and into the 7th over, and you're only on 14, you feel like this game has gone. Oh,
That's
beautiful
taken
from
off.
Suzuki. You feel like this game's gone for Indonesia, and now you've got to think, what can they get from it?
Yes,
How can
salvaging
they-
some amount of pride, of course, being one of the things, and of course,
And confidence for the people who do still bat, because if
Absolutely.
you get crushed here, if you get bowled all out for 30 or 40,
yeah,
it's not a great way to start
no,
the tour, is it?
and it does happen in associates cricket, doesn't it? One of the teams does outperform the other on certain occasions. Of course, Indonesia being the visiting team, they just arrived into Japan.
Yeah,
yesterday.
they only flew in yesterday.
Yeah.
It was a late dinner, and they got up here early to train and to get themselves ready.
So not a lot of time for them to
it's
have
really not
acquainted themselves to the conditions here.
Between you and I, Tamoy, on Wednesday morning, none of them had visas yet. So it's
There,
been a bit
there you
stressful.
go. Welcome to associates cricket.
No, they are
YouTube.
Sakurano Thomas on a hat trick. 2 slips. Third looks like it might be coming
And
in
there's
now.
a
2
gully
slips in
coming
the
in as
gully.
well. Makoto Taniyama at gully.
So I don't know if anyone's ever taken the hat trick for Japan. Sakurano Thomas trying it now. Full straight.
Oh, that was just over the bowler.
Well, there was a bit of noise.
Good effort there by Sakurano Thomas. Good start to his over as well. His intent has been looking
2
very good.
overs, 5 runs and 3 wickets. He's
Excellent.
certainly
start to
enjoying
his
himself. I thought it
international
got through
career.
him to begin with, but he just managed to get enough bat on that and clip it
Yes.
over the bowler's head. So Arta's off the mark.
Of course, it's also important for the rest of the batters for Indonesia to have some sort of innings going, because it builds confidence for them for the next 2 games.
Yeah, and I mean, you don't want to not bat out your overs in the game of T20. And if you're not going to bat out your overs, you at least want to do it going down firing.
Yes,
You know,
absolutely.
at the moment, they've not really laid a glove on Japan in this innings so
No,
far. And
they've
I think
looked
they'll be
to-
disappointed with that more than anything else. They haven't played any really aggressive shots. They've not shown any sort of intent.
Yes.
And I think you've got to try and produce something to let the opposition know you're there. They've allowed the Japanese bowlers to dictate a little bit.
Yes, the batting composition of both the teams are markedly different, very different. Of course, we're used to watching there's
That's a wide ball called.
Of course, we've seen the Japanese batters go through their motions and, of course, play in the local leagues and the domestic circuit. The Indonesian batters seem to be a little more... they're not as free stroke makers as probably we would associate the Japan batsmen as. Another wide signal by Chris Thurgate. A rare 2 extras delivered by Sakurano Thomas there. Ibrahim Takahashi boosting up his confidence from mid-on. Solid comeback, nicely driven this time by Artha straight to cover.
If you are watching and following on social media, feel free to jump on the Japan Cricket social channels. Of course, you might be watching on our YouTube stream, so you can hit subscribe for that. You
Yes,
can follow
give
us
a-
on Twitter at Cricket Japan. You can follow us on Instagram at Japan Cricket. You can find us on Facebook. Plenty of information. Oh, it's Sapish. down to third man will be safe. Yep, plenty of information out there about Japan cricket on the various websites and outlets that we run. So please do join the conversation. If you want to get in touch with us today, hashtag JPNVIDN, Japan versus Indonesia, on Twitter. We will answer your questions, won't we, Tanmoy? Haven't had too many yet.
Absolutely. We're looking forward to having some comments and some suggestions from our watchers from around the globe, not only in Japan, but of course the game is live on streaming on the Japan Cricket YouTube channel. It's available for free in all regions. And we're looking forward to have our fans talk about the game, what they've liked about the game, what they haven't. Of course, all kinds of feedback. Welcome.
Yeah, we've got our friends in India watching through the fan code application. They won't be able to speak to us on the YouTube's link, but feel free to follow us on Twitter.
Yes.
And you can talk to us there. If you're in the YouTube comments, feel free to say hello. Give us your thoughts on how things are going. Is this what you expected from Japan? No one's seen us play for 4 years. Team's come out pretty strongly. Final ball of this over.
Yes,
It's well driven, but straight to Taniyama at extra cover.
It's after a long break of 4 years, Japan is playing men's international cricket. Of course, this weekend we'll have 2 more games against Indonesia. This has been a bilateral series of some sort.
Same time tomorrow will be the second T20I, and on Tuesday it'll be a morning game.
Yes, it's
9:30
an early
start.
start.
So we'll be up early, won't we, Tom?
Yes, it'll be an early start on Tuesday morning, and followed by the 4 games or the
six
tri-series
games.
The
Six games over the tournament. It'll be 2 games on Saturday the 15th, 1 in the afternoon only on the Sunday the 16th and Monday the 17th, and then 2 games on Tuesday the 18th of October.
And looks like we have a bowling change.
Sabarish Ravichandran's got his hand on the ball.
Got 44 very well-made runs with the bat, and now he's
looking to make us play for MVP. He gets plenty of MVP awards.
He really does. He's made a habit of it, hasn't he? With throughout the seasons, the last 2 seasons, especially that I've been there, has been sweeping a lot of the awards out there, and he is a very handy leg spin bowler.
Yeah, he bowls it pretty flat. He gives it. He does give it a rip, and I think he'll enjoy playing on the turf.
He does. He's
he'll bowl very straight, and he always got good control. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see both him and Makoto Taniyama coming in to the attack before too long.
Give the ball a fair bit of a rip.
It's a sign that Japan are not taking any kind of rest. They want to get through this team. They want to finish early and get some rest in. The barbecue will be lit up pretty soon, I think. Tanmoy, a few sausages.
Yes, Japan famous for the barbecue, outdoor camping sceneries. This is perfect, actually.
Yeah, we're looking to provide as much hospitality as we can off the field, but we're not sure we're providing much on it. Certainly the hope.
Yes, the team has been very, very competitive this game, and it's looking very solid.
He's dropped that a bit short, Sabal, but there is turn there for him.
The ball has been turning throughout. Even when we saw the Indonesian spinners taking the ball was turning a fair bit, even though they probably did not bowl into the areas that they would have liked. They would have liked to have bowled a lot better with the spinners. But coming back to the schedule, of course, the Japan women's team is also in action later in the month.
They are. The East Asia Cup will take place at the end of October down in Kaizuka, hosting its first ever international cricket. And it'll be exciting for everyone taking part in that series. Disappointingly, China and Korea unable to enter this time around. So it'll just be Japan and Hong Kong fighting out for the trophy. But that should be an evenly fought series. I think Hong Kong will probably go in slight favourites. But the last time those 2 teams played each other, Japan did win. So it was a while ago. And again, a bit of an overhaul in players since then. But Hong Kong generally considered a fairly strong associate nation in the women's game.
Yes, and I was actually there in 2010 when Japan women's team won the bronze medal in the Asian Games when it was played for the first time in Guangzhou.
Yeah, Shizuka Miyagi's still in the team now.
Still in the team, fighting fit, going strong, playing internationally as well.
Yeah, she went off to the Fair Break Invitational earlier in the year. Did pretty well.
And
on
that
is a boundary.
The first boundary for Indonesia.
We've seen a boundary.
It's a rare sighting today at Sano, at the Sano International Cricket Ground.
Yeah, Arta, the left-hander. It was full
quite
toss from Zabaraj. It probably got what it
was a
deserved, if
gift.
we're honest.
Absolutely. It was
Declan
a
Suzuki
gift right
put
there.
in the dive, but couldn't quite get it. Indonesia will feel a bit better about themselves after that.
I think as the adage goes, the leg spinner is better off bowling a full toss rather than a short one. And I think it's okay. I mean, they have plenty of runs to still bowl at.
Yes, I'm not sure they're going to be too worried. And half an appeal from the next delivery. Yep, I think you can see what Zabaraj is trying to do. He wanted to give it a bit more flight, I think, and try and get the most out of the ball in the air, but just probably slipped a little bit in his fingers.
Yeah, the score has been has moved to 26 for 5 now at the end of the 9th.
Yeah, required rate up to 10.5. It's a near impossible ask at this point, but strange things can happen in T20 cricket. I have been guilty of writing teams off on commentary only to be made to look a bit silly. So
strange things have indeed happened. It's a little late in the day for a boundary to have come for Indonesia, the 9th over, but they will need plenty of boundaries from now on in.
Well, I'm happy to say that my prediction was right. I finally got something right today, Tamoy.
So leg spin from both ends.
Taniyama has got the ball in his hand.
Leg spin from both ends.
Leg spin from both ends. Taniyama, Japan's most experienced player out there. Plenty of caps to his name. In fact, I can tell you how many caps he's got if I just...
A very different leg spinner to Ravichandran. Of course, Taniyama does like to flight the ball and is a very big turner of the ball.
Makoto Taniyama playing his 27th match for Japan.
And there's a leading edge. Just bounces short of point out there.
So he made his debut in the same series as Alex Shilai Patmore. Taniyama wears cap number 68. So playing with players coming up towards cap number 100. There's a bit of turn. He's sent that
big turn
far down leg side. But he's got turn.
Yeah, turning almost square there for Taniyama.
So Tani...
Yeah, like we say, how he's known as
an experienced cricketer now at international level, and he's played with a lot of the Papua New Guinea boys in the Australian Country Championships. He's represented the East Asia Pacific region when those teams were still put together. Hasn't happened for the last few years, but Taniyama's played in Melbourne as well, and is someone who's pretty well known in Japan cricket circles.
He is, and he's a little unconventional in terms of his action because he has a slightly more round arm kind of an action. He likes to give the ball a fair bit of rip, as you can see. It's there's a little bit of bounce there as well, a lot of overspin also by Taniyama this time. Arta just managed to clip the ball towards his hips to square leg there. The run rate's been steadily rising. It's over 11 runs and over now. We're about to hit the halfway mark of the game. Almost 10 overs done. And Taniyama is going through his over rather quickly. He's trying to rush it and not give too much of a chance for the Indonesian batters to look in. Defended well by Arta there. End of over number 10. It's 27 for 5. Mountain to climb. 116 needed from the next 10 overs. We're going to have a little bit of a break at the halfway mark, and we'll be back shortly. Back on.
Little break there as the 10 over mark hits. Indonesia 27 for 5 after 10 overs, and Japan were what 56 I think at the 10 over
Yes.
mark. So they're only 20 odd runs behind that, 20-30 runs behind that. So not miles and miles behind, but the 5 wickets is really
The
the
5
problem,
wickets
isn't
has
it?
really taken the wind out of their sails, hasn't it? Ravichandran is continuing from the far end here.
Spin from both ends at the moment. That's a
Got a almighty
big swing, nothing coming of it. It's getting a bit chilly, Tamoy.
It has.
I have to reach for my jacket.
I think Indonesia is also probably not really used to these kind of weather conditions.
Now, as you were mentioning in the break, Tamoy, we've got some of the Japan women's team are here. I'm just going to stand up and have a look. I can see Shizuka Miyagi, we talked about, Erika Oda, Mai Yanagida, and there's someone else there as well. I can't quite see who it is.
Yes, Erika Oda, also a teammate of ours for Chiba Sharks, and plays our longer version of cricket for us.
Yeah, she plays in the 40 over stuff for you, doesn't she?
Yes.
These microphones are quite easy to move around with, Tamoy. I feel like suddenly
Quite nice, actually. Why I
I've got
don't
a
know
new
why
lease
we
of
were
life.
sitting down all this while.
Yeah, we can walk around.
Yeah, and you can get a better view of the
They can.
proceedings,
They can come
not
and stand
having
right by the window.
the unclear view.
Yeah, bit of noise around. I can see a bit more
Some
what's going on.
cheers in the middle.
I see people hunting for the barbecue set.
I really hope people are watching, tuned in to this game. It's a lovely sight. It's a great field to be playing cricket in.
Yeah,
honestly.
we've got Mount Karasawa away to our left. We've
Yes.
got the Akiyama River off to our right.
Yes, surrounded by mountains, Sano, up in Tochigi Prefecture. It's about 80 kilometers away from Tokyo.
80 kilometres north of Tokyo, that's
Yeah.
right. And the Sano International Cricket Ground, as it's so called, has been hosting international cricket since, certainly since I've been here. I got here in 2014. I think
Mhm.
we started hosting international teams in 2012 at this ground.
Yep.
Japan, of course, been hosting international cricket since 2004, I believe.
Yes,
Could be wrong on that. It's 4 or 5. We played an international tournament in Fuji, I think was the first one we hosted.
I see.
Um,
Also, Fuji, of course, has unparalleled views of course, that iconic mountain, which is probably second only to Table Mountain up in Cape
yeah,
Town,
in terms of
isn't it?
in terms of
In terms of
cricket grounds and
cricket
mountains.
grounds,
Although
yes.
Dharamshala's got some pretty nice views of the
Definitely
Himalayas.
does.
haven't they?
Definitely,
One of my-
even the fort of Gaul.
Yeah,
in
it's
Sri Lanka,
fantastic.
it's fantastic.
The
views as
ground at
far as
Dharamshala is one I really want to get to.
It really is quite a pretty sight to watch cricket at, and I don't think Sano is too far behind in terms of course, the size of the ground also matters. It's a proper full-sized cricket ground, big boundaries all around. Not easy
Taniyama
to hit.
continuing. Very nearly pushed one through
Big turn there.
the left-hander. This game's kind of lost a bit of its fizz, hasn't it? It's
has.
meandering somewhat,
It
Tamoy. I can
has.
kind of feel that by the way that we've got up and started
I
meandering
think
ourselves.
I think we have also tried to put some energy back into this commentary as well. There is want for a wicket or some
Or a shot
boundaries
or
a
something
big
to
shot
happen.
coming in.
What I hope doesn't happen is that this game peters around to sort of 40 for 5 off 20 overs.
Yes, that's
And nothing. It doesn't do anything for
not
anyone.
going to be ideal for.
That said,
or
I mean,
even
for the
Indonesia.
bowlers, it presents Japan with an opportunity. They've got to take wickets now. They want to finish this game off. They don't
They
just
have
want to drift for these last 10 overs. So I think it's like, okay, how can we get these guys out? Even if they're not looking to score. I mean, they're not. It's not that they're not looking to score, but they're struggling to get the ball away, and the field's still in. I mean,
Yes, it's been
We've
a
got-
challenge for.
I'm not sure we need 5 fielders outside the circle. Tamoy, I'm looking
It's
at it.
been a
We've got-
challenge for the Indonesian batsman to put the ball away out of the circle. And having said that, there is one right now.
Well, as we said at the, did we say this at the change of innings? We weren't sure how much invention we might see from Indonesia. They do look quite correct in the way they play.
Yes.
There's lots of sort of punches on the offside.
I think
but it's
that's exactly what
very easy
I
to
was
set
talking
fields
about.
for, isn't it?
In contrast to the Japan batters, some of them were.
It's high.
It's a very high full toss. It won't be surprised if
Sakurano
it's given a
takes the
no ball.
catch. I'm looking at the umpires.
Yes, it has.
And
been
the arm
given
is
a no
out.
ball. The arm is
So-
out.
It won't count.
Nicely taken by Sakurano Thomas, but unfortunately, it is going to be bowled again, and this is going to be a free hit this time.
They didn't run. Interestingly.
They did not run as well.
So I think they've missed an opportunity there, and That kind of shows, doesn't it, a little bit, sort of the attitude that they think the game might be gone.
The intent has been lacking by the Indonesian batsman, hasn't it?
Yeah, just making sure the fielders are all back in the same place. But just saying, you've got a deep square, backward square leg. You've got a deep mid wicket. You've got long on, long off, and a sweeper out on the extra cover boundary. I'm just not sure you need all these guys out on the boundary at the moment. He's gone after that. He's bottom edged into his toes. So we've had a few free hits go for nothing, haven't we, in this game?
Yeah, we have. I believe this is the third one this time.
So yeah, with the field, bit of a change in the field now. Sakulano Thomas has wandered up to join the circle, and he's going to field it now.
He struck this time.
Hit him.
That's a bit of a
single there.
Very hard throw by Sakulano Thomas.
Yeah, I just think we've got to keep the game alive, really, haven't we? And I mean, Piyush Kumbhari's just bowled one over, which is a wicket maiden, and he hasn't bowled again since.
No, he hasn't. I think it's also a matter of the captain going through all of his options available to him.
Yeah, people want to have a look at everyone.
Yeah, it really helps them to pick the 11 tomorrow and also day after, because they have a 17-member squad. They have plenty to choose from.
Interesting thing about Makata Tamiyama, he's been carrying a bit of an injury for a lot of this year. He had a sort of a shoulder pectoral muscle injury as he bowled, but he seems fully fit again now, and he doesn't seem to be having any problems getting through his action.
And just as you said, Kumbhare seems to have returned for his second over, finally.
And this is a change of ends for him, isn't it?
Yes.
Coming down from the mountain end. So he was the one player they went after, that second wicket to fall after the run out.
Indeed, and that probably changed the complexion of the game completely,
You
didn't
did
it?
feel like the top four for Indonesia were going to be the main threat, and they were all gone
within
the first 3 or 4 overs.
Yeah.
Big grunt from Piyush Kumbhare and single taken.
It's been hard work for the Indonesian batters. It has become considerably dark, hasn't it?
Yeah, just standing by these windows. A lot of clouds, not really any clear sky
faint
to
clouds
see.
out there, but I think we are going to have our game go on uninterrupted.
Oh, they'll finish. It doesn't look like there's any rain around, and I don't think we need to be looking at Duckworth-Lewis, but if we did, I'm pretty sure Japan.
I think the only
ahead.
concern will be how much it rains, because we have a game tomorrow as well.
The game tomorrow is another afternoon, so the forecast for the daytime looks okay. So it'll just be a question of getting the covers on straight after this game.
Nicely collected by Shirai Patmore there.
Groundsman Urahara will, I'm sure, be ready. He's, of course, under the supervision of Todd Luckhurst, who's over here as our grounds consultant, and Todd was on commentary with me last week.
I think the ground has really been presented very well for international cricket.
It's come up well so far.
Yes. We are going to have the same deck to be played on for all the 3 games.
All 3 of this series will be played on this strip, yep. And then the tournament strip, I believe, will be the one
Nicely
4 strips over. So the boundary will shift a little bit.
Nicely struck for 1. Well backed up by Taniyama there.
There's a few guys down on walking around the boundary. Look like they've been at a club game earlier today, and they've come up here to
we did
support
have
the
some
Japan
club
team, which is good.
games going on, not very far away from here.
Yeah, down at the Sano Waterlase River grounds.
Yes.
3 new grounds been put in down there recently, which should be in action for next season, I hope.
Yes, gives a lot many more options to have the Japan cricket schedule, which is quite a busy one actually.
It is. It's a full schedule, no doubt about that.
The winter months can be long here, and there's not a lot of
there you go. A shot. An angle. That's gone miles. That's a 6 all the way. Well, that's a terrific hit.
That's a big 6. Finally, the first 6 of the innings hit by
a serve. Man who's changed his shirt number.
Survey. Padmakar.
Just a tiny bit short.
Has really
Kumbhare
hit the screws out of that.
Last ball of the over. Got it away, and yeah, this is what we wanted to see from Indonesia. Just a little bit of intent, a little bit of a bit of fight, I think, and serve showing it there. He's up to 19.
Yes.
From 26 deliveries with that shot, and 44 for 5 after 13 overs is a distinct improvement from where they were at the end of the power play.
Yes, dropping it short on a rare occasion, Kumbhare, but very well dealt with by Survey. That's only the second boundary for Indonesia, if I'm not mistaken. There's only a boundary 4 in the 9th over, and it took until the 13th over for a 6 to come.
Yep, Taniyama's continuing.
The run rate has climbed to...
Yeah, the required rate certainly got up. We're up at 14.5 now. So I'm not sure we're going to be...
that's a close call, but I think...
And the fingers up. He's taken his time. Umpire Thurgate had a good look at that.
And Survey has
It's gone for caught behind.
There's a caught behind there, not stumping as initially thought. And Survey, the highest scorer for Indonesia by a considerable margin, finally goes for 19 there. Taniyama has got the wicket. A very conventional dismissal for a leg spinner. The ball turning away from the right-hander, beats the face of the bat, takes the little outside edge, well held by Shirai Patmore, who also managed to whip the bails off just for the stumping appeal, but eventually the caught behind stands.
Yep, so 6 down. First wicket for Makoto Taniyama for the series. His first wicket in 4 years. He'll be feeling happy about that, I'm sure. And now Indonesia 6 down for 45 runs on the board. They still need 98 runs from just 6.3 overs. So 3 balls to go in this over. But yes, I think this game is certainly drifting away.
That was the biggest partnership for Indonesia by a long margin. And things were looking a little more steady, of course. But even though the innings wasn't really going anywhere, it'll be interesting to see what the intent of the next batsman in is. Who is the wicket-keeper, if I'm not mistaken, Ramdhani.
Yep, Ramdhani's in.
Drags it short, and it's been pulled nicely into the gap, into the leg side. Ravichandran has done the work. Fires it in from the deep, but 2 runs already taken. Ramdhani off the mark already with 2. Taniyama pulls a rare bad ball this time.
Short and didn't bounce much either. He's actually done pretty well to get that sort of mid-wicket boundary.
Yes.
The other thing with Taniyama, he usually gets through his overs pretty quickly. Just bowls off a couple of paces. Taught himself how to bowl leg spin by watching videos of the late great Shane Warne on YouTube.
It's so strange to call him the late great.
I know. It's still difficult to get a head around, isn't it?
Yeah, has been difficult to sink in something like that. Lost a legend in the game. Well, both Taniyama it's a nice tribute. Also wears the same number 23 behind his back.
Indeed. Shane Warne image in his avatar, I believe, in his Instagram account or Twitter account. Declan Suzuki's back into the attack.
Yes, I think Japan looking to close out this innings as quickly as possible. 6 overs to go, of course, but looking to show intent and take wickets and not let the game just run its course. Which is a good show by the captain. Yeah,
it's important for the boys to stay switched on and to keep doing the basics well.
Absolutely,
no matter what.
Absolutely, the strategies will remain in place even tomorrow and day after for the next 2 games.
Yeah, and I wouldn't read too much into this result. I mean, look, it's the first game. Both teams coming into it a bit cold, but the Japan team, look, we've had a good season behind us, most of our players, but the Indonesian team, as we said, straight off the plane, probably not a lot of cricket behind them, haven't played together for however long. So in the first game of a series, you can often see things go a bit like this, but I would expect Indonesia to bounce back pretty strongly tomorrow.
Yes, they would like to shake this off, dust it off and come back renewed. Maybe make a few changes to their side. identify what went wrong. Of course, they probably did not have the best out there time with the ball. Of course, with the bat, they haven't really had much of a chance with the first 4 wickets going out in the first 3 or 4 overs there. So a slight change of personnel, of course, over the next 2 games will probably give the team the kind of intent that they need going into this series, and hopefully they'll come back with a much stronger effort, with a much more improved effort. Suzuki going through his over rather well. Is trying to hit the deck, pull a little quicker, of course. The highlight for me has to be, for the bowling, has to be the swinging deliveries of Sakuran Thomas. He was really swinging the ball, getting all the help that he could from the overcast conditions out here.
Yeah, he bowled beautifully, didn't he, in that opening spell?
Definitely. And matched up to the Indonesian fast bowler Koda, who had a very good time out there, the first 3 overs especially, and came back in the last 2 overs to restrict Japan somewhat. And we thought that it would be a good fighting chance for Indonesia to be able to chase this down. It would have been a very interesting game to watch. Unfortunately, they kind of lost their way with the bat in the first 6 overs of the game itself.
Yeah, those early wickets really set them back and probably killed off the chances.
Really
for
did.
Indonesia
Really
right at the
did.
start. Motorbikes pinging down the road alongside the ground. Don't know if you can hear that on the mics.
Very picturesque area, this part of Japan. Known for cricket, as Alan mentioned, in 2012 identified as one of the cities of cricket for Japan. And a lot of consistent efforts over the last decade or so have made this the hub for cricket in Japan. And although
absolutely.
Japan is very well known for its baseball, there's, of course, as we all know, a lot of transferable skills. Some of the players coming from a background in baseball as well.
Tanyama continuing, giving it some flight.
Yeah, he's not shy to fly the ball. Down the track, leading edge. Drops short of short third man and backward point rather. Falls kind of between Shirai Patmore and the backward point fielder over there. No real intent by the Indonesian batters to force the situation here. They're happy to sit back at the moment.
There is plenty of turn out there for Tanyama. He's just not necessarily landing it perfectly every time, is he?
Yeah, he hasn't.
At his best, he's very consistent with his accuracy, but he's been a bit off. And I think part of that might be the lack of intensity in the game in general.
I think also the injury that you spoke about maybe has. He looks to be in full fitness, but I guess the
Might just
rhythm,
be a bit-
rhythm has been a little.
When you've been bowling with an injury to that part of your body, you end up sort of having to almost cater for it when you bowl, right? You end up changing your delivery action, and then when you're fit again, you've got to try and get it back to where it was.
I think so. You're
Still,
right.
he's bowled 4 overs, taken 1 for 10. He's done all right. I'm not going to be too
I
hard
think
on
we've
him.
been complaining too much out here.
Yeah.
But easier said than done, as we said. And yes, I think the Indonesian batters are kind of just comfortable, let it meandering, and bat through the rest of the overs that are remaining. They're 50 for 6 with 4 overs to go. We haven't really seen any attempt for a big shot or to change the course of the game, so to speak.
Kohei Kubota's coming back on.
Kubota is returning.
With the pace, let's see what he's done. 4 overs to go. India 50 for 6. The required rate now an immaterial 23.25 and over. So
Kubota will try
4
to-
wickets to get for Japan, I think, is how we want to look at it.
Yes, I think Japan will try to get all the wickets that they can.
And it is pretty dark out there now, isn't it? It's 4:30, so we're pretty much
has.
at the scheduled finish time.
It has, and it'll be interesting to see if there is anything to do with the playing conditions about the lowing the light going dimmer.
Nope.
And
No, we just finished the game.
yeah,
I mean, if the umpires were to decide that it's too dark to play on, then it would just be a Duckworth-Lewis call, I suspect.
Yes.
But that shouldn't happen at this time.
at the
of year.
moment it seems to be the batters don't seem to have any complaints.
No, and the umpires seem happy enough. I mean, I know sometimes the umpires can say it's often a bit darker in the middle than it is.
Yes.
It appears from back here because
And
of
also,
the trees.
yes, and sometimes it also looks, the pace of the ball and those kind of things, especially in Test cricket and stuff that we've seen, makes
yeah.
a difference. But here, I don't think it's that much of an issue. Kubota slides one through once again. Has been unlucky so far. Hasn't had a wicket. I mean, of course, he's just bowling a second over, but he'll try to sneak one in. He likes to bowl Yorkers.
Yeah, he likes to bowl full and straight a lot of
Yeah.
the time. He gets a lot of his rewards that way.
Yeah, and full and straight is what the Indonesians also got rewarded for.
He's picked up the best bowler in the Japan Premier League a couple of times.
Drops it in short, has been pulled away for the second boundary
gonna
for
be
Indonesia.
4 runs.
Nicely played there by
Artes
Arta.
batted a long time. That's
He
the
has indeed.
30th ball he's faced. And he's got that one away for 4 runs. So he moves on to 16. And I guess time in the middle for some of these boys has value. And being able to get a couple of boundaries under your belt will be pleasing for them.
Precisely, they come back a lot more confident the next day, which is tomorrow. It's not a long series, of course.
Yeah, I mean, as you said, at one stage it was looking pretty bad. I mean, still, they're probably not going to finish in 3 figures, but their aim, I guess, will to not be bowled out.
Yes, Indonesia happy with getting the runs that they can, not really trying to play against the required run rate, which has crept up to 27.
Yeah. Yes, I think we can probably disregard that at this point. That's a wide ball called. So that's a free run for Indonesia's total.
Yes, otherwise disciplined the Japan bowling attack. There have been a couple of wide balls here and there. But as you suggested, Japan would have been pretty happy bringing their fielders in at this point, I would have thought. Maybe getting a couple of slips into position. Try to just get something from the batsman. Try to get them to make a mistake. Trying to attack a little more. They only have another 3 overs to go.
Yep, 57 for 6 after 17 overs. Ibrahim Takahashi is going to come back in for another over. I wouldn't be surprised if we just see spin now. Maybe Real Sakalano might get a 4th over, but might just save them at this point, let the spinners do their thing.
Yeah,
Get
maybe
through the overs a bit quicker whilst
Yes.
the light is fading.
I think that is the idea.
Takahashi bowled 2 overs up top. Change of ends for him as he comes down to bowl from the school end where we are, Tamwa. He'll be running away from us to deliver to Ramdoni. Four off 13 for Ahmad Ramdoni. Doesn't quite manage to get going, the left-hander, but 3 overs left to try and boost his confidence with the bat. It's just pushed into the offside, there's no run.
As Takahashi bowled the first 2 overs of his spell right up front, and he's just returned to bowl a third towards the death of the innings. A rare bit of flight there by Takahashi, and he's been given out.
And that's stumped off a wide.
Stumped off a wide.
See how the scorers deal with this. This is one of those ones as a scorer that you hate. I'm sure you can hear my radio going off behind me. They'll be clarifying exactly what happened. But it's a wicket for Ibi Takahashi. Indonesia are 7 down.
Artha's long stay at the crease has finally ended. 33 balls for his 17.
He just overbalanced there, didn't he?
Yes, he just overbalanced and fell over almost. Shirai Patmore doing the rest. Good collection on the leg side without having to. He was kind of blindsided.
Yeah, he'll be happy. He's had a decent day, hasn't he?
He has.
Runs, wickets, now stumping to go.
Took a stunning catch earlier in the innings.
Just a quick welcome to our listeners around the world. We've got viewers all over the place, in Japan, of course, and in Indonesia and India. I think we've seen a few others, a couple from England, maybe some in Holland. Yep, all over the place. Welcome to the Japan Cricket YouTube stream. Don't forget to hit subscribe. Don't forget to follow us on all our social media accounts.
We have 2 more games coming up, so be sure to come back tomorrow and day after for some more T20 action between Japan and Indonesia.
Same time tomorrow, we'll be back. Patmore and I will both be here. And so will these same 2 teams. Hoping for a bit more of a competitive game tomorrow, Patmore.
Definitely. By the looks of it, of course, Japan has been the overall, by the clear favourite, but Indonesia definitely will look for an improved performance tomorrow and day after.
Yeah, I mean, last time these 2 teams met 4 years ago in the Philippines, they played each other twice, and Japan won the first game and Indonesia won the second. So, you know, it's a reflection on perhaps how the teams have moved on in that time, that this has been, or it will be, such a big win. But at the same time, you know, teams can bounce back, teams can recover, and they lost their top order very cheaply today. If some of those guys fire tomorrow, then we might be in for a different story. And that's a good shot for 4.
Excellent shot. By
Ramdhani finally
smashes it,
swinging his arms.
Yes, and as we talked about, like the logistical setbacks that Indonesia, of course, had coming into the game just arrived yesterday. So they haven't really had the preparation time that they would have liked, but they have come in a week in advance just to have a crack at Japan, to be able to have a little more game practice before the all-important East Asia Pacific qualifiers.
Oof.
And how did
it's gone
that
through
miss?
everyone, I think.
Yes, it missed the stumps as well.
I suspect that will be buys. Don't know how that's missed the stumps. Alex Shirai Patmore just tilts his head to one side as if to say, not my fault.
Yeah, missed everything there.
Buys signalled. Shirai Patmore won't like that. Prides himself on his keeping. It's well driven again, but straight to the fielder. Mid-off will just trot in and keep him to a single. Ibi Takahashi's completing this over. 66 for 7 now, Indonesia. 2 overs to go. Wonder if Leo Sacolano might get another over. Looks like Suzuki's going to continue from the far end. So my call of spin for the rest of the innings has been quickly dismissed. That's why I'm not an international cricket captain, Samway.
Which is why we are in the commentary box.
Yep, the Tiger's got the ball in hand.
It's
Tola Suzuki still hunting for his prey. He will be very keen. He batted all right, but just chased a wide one and was dismissed. But I'm sure he'll be pretty keen if he can to get among the wickets. 2 overs for 2 runs.
Right on the money. Shirai Patmore keeping up to his medium pace teammate, Suzuki. Maybe creating a few more chances to stump, which he has been very successful at.
Well, the required rate now, Tammo, is 42, so
Yeah,
I think we can pronounce this game.
He's missed that one.
Missed that one again. Well, I think the
Hasn't
uneven
been able to
bounce is doing for him, isn't it?
Yes.
That one's kept low. It's nutmegged him.
Kumbare did well to stop that one in the deep and throws it back just for 2 more runs.
Runs buys. Tammo there. Adam Burse, the umpire's got his arm in the air. Umpire's done a good job today, I think. Haven't had too many decisions to make.
Few too many extras, I think, for Japan this game.
Yeah, just having a look at the extras. It's not been too bad. 4 buys, 1 no ball, 6 wides, 1 leg buy as well. I mean, you'd rather not have any,
Of course.
but
Yeah,
it is part of the game.
Disciplined with the ball.
It is part of the game, I think, at associate level where you do really notice the difference.
Yes.
You know, these guys, they're not professional cricketers. They don't have a chance to necessarily
Absolutely.
bowl every day and
Absolutely.
really hone
Everybody-
their technique and their actions to make sure they don't give away any freebies.
Absolutely. A lot of the cricketers have their own jobs, have their own professions, or are students, or are doing several other things, not just playing cricket. And yeah, they're doing everything to support their on-field exploits and ambitions. And it's where the charm of associates cricket or amateur cricket or semi-professional cricket lies. There's a lot of juggling between their own professional lives and playing cricket on top of that.
Yeah, they got to stay fit. They got to practice. They got to, you know, work out their bowling plans, their fielding positions.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's a lot to do and it's a lot to
Yes.
balance. And a lot of the guys tend to be young.
Yes.
You look around this Japan team, there's a lot of young guys out there. I'm sure Indonesia's similar. And Suzuki's just pushing
Yes,
him
it's
onto the
been
back foot there.
It's been a good outing for Japan with 8 new players, 8 new debutants, and some of the players returning after almost a decade-long break
Yeah.
from for international cricket. And it's a very interesting combination the coach and the captain decided to go with for this game. Of course, there's going to be a little more chopping and changing and tinkering around the 11 to give the rest of the group a go as well. And we might as well have the 100th cap for the Japan national team being given out as early as tomorrow.
Could be as early as tomorrow. Okay, Leo Sakurano does have the ball. He's got 3 wickets, looking for a couple more.
That's the final over of the
Be the
game.
last
coming up.
over, 6 balls to go. Required rate, 72. So, big ask. Indonesia have made it halfway to the required total. Leo Sakurano is a bit of a free hit here as a bowler, isn't it?
Yes.
Well, it's either that or you can't win. You know,
He's going to.
it's not going to impact the result of the game, whatever happens here, but he's got pretty good figures so far. He doesn't want to give away anything, and I think he'd like to get a couple
I think
more
that's
wickets
the-
in the wicket
yes.
column. No slipping now. In he comes. And that is
Struck very
going to
well.
be caught. Oh,
Very
yes.
well taken
Juggling
by
catch.
Ibi.
Ibi Takahashi. That's 4 for Leo Sakurano Thomas.
Takahashi has done well to hold on to that one. Seemed to be slipping away, but caught it on the second attempt. Sakurana Thomas not being unlucky today is
Yeah.
turned in his 4th wicket already, 4 for 10 in his 4th over.
He said he
Brilliant
never
figures.
even takes forfers. So on international
I
debut,
think
Leo Sakurano,
he's proven himself wrong there by quite handsomely at that.
I think he'll be pleasantly surprised.
It's been a good
And he'll
day
be
out and-
itching for a 5th. He said he told me he hadn't taken a 5-wicket haul in about 7 years. So
Let's hope he manages to prove himself wrong once again. He still has 5 more balls to bowl.
bowling at
And
the tail.
2 wickets to go for Indonesia. There still is hope for Sakurana Thomas to to grab that elusive 5-wicket haul.
And I think the catching's been all right today, hasn't it? The Japan team, I don't remember anyone.
They have
Declan
held
Suzuki
on
put one down early,
initially,
but
but
then,
then
got the run out off
the run out came right on the back of that.
So that was one.
Didn't really
he's
cost
probably-
much.
He's one of the best fielders in the team.
Yes,
so.
it thankfully it didn't cost Japan much at the time, and it was the first wicket to fall.
Yeah, so it could have done. You know, the
Yeah,
Indonesian team.
exactly.
Again, as you see a lot of associate cricket, the best batters are up top.
Yes,
Perhaps with Japan, one that breaks the mould of that, with guys like Ravichandran and
that was
shit
well
like
bowled.
Patmore coming in at 5 and 6.
Yes, it's a bit of a rarity for the Japan national team to have a lot of the top order batsmen having to bat way down the order simply because there are too many of the top order batsmen in this team.
Yeah, and that's a reflection, isn't it? In club cricket, if you're the best batter, you open up.
Absolutely, you have as
Mr.
many
Barrett
overs
is
to
the
bat
exception, I
as
guess,
many
to
as
that.
you can.
There it
And
is.
there it
Five
is.
for Sakulano Thomas.
5 for 10.
He will be thrilled. He's gone straight through him. He can't believe it.
He can probably
He's
get a 6
delighted.
for now. 71 for 9.
International
Indonesia.
debut. Leo Sakulano Thomas, 5-wicket haul. He's on the honours board. High fives from his teammates. He's the vice captain. He's moved to Japan this year, having been out in New Zealand for the last, 15 years of his life. He lived in Japan. He was born here, down in Toyama. Went back to New
Toyama is
Zealand.
way up in the west.
Yeah, exactly. Long
Was
way
there
away. His parents are here today, watching him. They've just moved over as well. Rao's been here since April.
Was there in Toyama only 2 weeks ago.
Yeah,
for an archery competition.
Yep. So Rao's, that's where he hails from, and he's come back to work for the Japan Cricket Association and try and spread the game of cricket. No better way to do that than by becoming one of the stars of the team himself. So 5 wickets for 10 runs, fantastic
Excellent
figures.
performance.
And Indonesia now 9 down, 3 balls to go, and Sakulano will be hunting for a 6 for, as you say, Tamwai.
Absolutely. This is
Won't get a better chance than this, will he?
No,
3
he
balls
won't.
to the number 11.
three balls to go, 3 balls to bowl
Full
to the number
and
11.
straight.
He's done well. The previous one, all he needs to do is just repeat the same one. He was on a hat trick as well at one stage.
In he comes. Well, that's
Well
squirted
played.
into the offside. They've scampered through for a single.
Number 12 is out of off strike, so he's managed to avoid the ignominy of being the 6th wicket.
Well, that's your mate, number 0 on his back.
Number 0 is back.
He is Artawan.
Artawan is on strike now, and 2 balls to go for the game to be wrapped up.
I had the pleasure of doing a presentation to some school kids with Raoul in the indoor centre here, and he went and bowled in the nets and had no problem hitting the stumps there. So if you can do the same here, ooh,
And is not missed by much.
goodness
has
me, he's in with a chance.
Inches, I would reckon. A very good day out there for Sakurano Thomas, particularly, of course, and Sabaudish Ravichandran, who top scored with a bat. Got a
Yeah.
few wickets as well. If not,
It will be interesting.
it'll be a nice toss-up between these two gentlemen. That's been lifted high.
He's not going to get there.
Not gonna get there, Ibi.
gonna
Oh, it's
plop.
cleared. It's cleared the boundary.
Has that cleared the
It's gone for
ropes?
6.
The last ball, just
Gone for 6. Takahashi has signalled to the
just a
umpire.
bit of a hit to the bowling figures, but
Nicely timed.
5
I
for
must say.
17 for Raoul Sakulano Thomas is still perfectly acceptable, I would say.
Excellent
And
end.
78 for 9 Indonesia finish. So that's a comfortable win by 65 runs for the Japan men's national team in this first T20 international. We'll be back tomorrow at the same time, 1:30 Japan time, for the second game. Thank you all for joining us. Been
Thank
a
you for
pleasure to have
tuning
you.
in.
Tamoy, thank you.
Thank you, Alan, for the opportunity. I'm going to see you again tomorrow and day after, and we're going to be right here bringing you the games for the rest of the series between Japan and Indonesia.
I better go and do a post-match presentation.
Absolutely.
You better go and find the barbecue.
Yes, we will. Time to fire up the barbecue, and it is good day from here.
Thanks, everyone. See you tomorrow.